The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who got turned into a dog and is now running for his life from an incinerator. Welcome, Jacob.
Oh, Nick, come on, not again.
Again? Oh my God. You've been chased by an incinerator before?
Maybe. Okay, we all get heartbroken every once in a while, right?
Okay, that is fair.
True.
That is very fair. But anyway.
But not today. Why, thank you.
Not today, incinerator.
Why, thank you. Let me use our co-host, a man who was trying to find some toilet paper and stumbled across a wizard. Welcome, Drew.
Let's just say that I really had to clean myself up right after that.
Oh, snap.
But anyway, if you're trying to figure out what on earth are these two goobers talking
Exactly.
about, tonight we are reviewing a South Korean anime entitled The Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. And it is by far probably one of the craziest things I think we might have reviewed.
Just about.
That is not in Bad Movie Month,
Agreed.
but we'll get there here in a minute. You ready to just jump right on into our spoiler-free thoughts on this?
Sure, let's do that.
All right. Dila, give us a bumper if you would, please.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
This is my second viewing.
Really?
Yeah, because I bought the movie.
That's
What was
right.
it? Like in
Last-
2020.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think it was the first time either one of us had gotten back into half-price books after the pandemic started.
That's right. Because
we were looking for movies
Yes, we were.
while we were waiting to go see Bill and Ted Save the Universe or whatever that third movie's called.
Was it Bill and Ted?
It wasn't Tenet because we didn't watch Tenet together.
That is true. We didn't. No,
think
wait a
it was-
minute. Wait a minute. No, we did.
No, we didn't. I watched it with my mom, and I had a bunch of kids behind me who wouldn't shut up,
Oh, okay. Well, never
which
mind.
made the backwards talking scenes very hard to follow.
Okay. Well, never mind.
But anyway,
Anyways, continue.
so yeah, I bought it because we were looking through movies.
Yeah. And you
And
stumbled across
I
this.
came across this, and I had three things cross my mind. That's the G Kids logo.
Mm-hmm.
This might be a little bit artsy and fun. This could be a fun thing to review.
Mhm.
What's this called? Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. That's crazy enough title. I got to find out what this is. So I went ahead and bought the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to go see whatever that movie was. And a couple weeks later, I watched this and go, yeah, that was a fun movie. I don't know how we'll talk about it. But we're talking about it tonight, so I guess we'll find out. I remember I enjoyed it. If you can find this movie, I actually do suggest it. Be aware that there's a lot that this movie just does and wants you to accept
Yep.
without any explanation whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So be aware of that. But other than that, I think it's a good movie. You should watch it.
Okay. Well, this is also my first viewing of this film. There again, we were in half price books.
Yeah, yes, it is half price.
Yeah, half price books.
That's what it says on the price tag. I had to remove the O card for,
Mm-hmm.
so y'all wouldn't have to stare at that big yellow piece of label.
Mm-hmm. So Drew comes around the corner and it's like, what did you find? He's like, what in the world? I mean, I'm just so puzzled. It's like, okay, Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds interesting. And so
I have seen stranger titles on things.
Mm,
This was just the first one. I thought, well, I'll pluck down, what was it, 10, 15 bucks?
yeah,
It was used.
13. It's a
Where
13,
was that card?
right?
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah,
$13.49
yeah,
plus tax.
yeah.
So $15.
For something an obscure title, like that's not really that bad.
No.
And definitely from G Kids.
Yeah, and so I thought maybe this is just some weird anime I'd never heard of because I just looked at it. I didn't do any reading on the back of
Mhm.
it. I didn't even see the picture of Merlin on it.
Oh gosh.
All I saw was a girl with rocket boots or not Rocket boots, Rocket's shoes,
Mm-hmm.
kissing a giant cow-like creature, and thought that kind of looks sweet. I'll give this a shot. Come home, put it in. It's like, wait a minute. This isn't Japanese.
Oh,
This is Korean.
and it's Korean.
South Korean, to be specific. And you kind of learn that really quickly when you find out the girl is actually a Korean satellite,
Yeah.
a real Korean satellite. So yeah, I enjoyed the film. If you're looking for something funny, weird, really weird to watch,
Really weird.
and do still kind of want a little bit of a sweet love story, as there is one in this.
Kind of.
Yeah, go pick up this movie. It's a fun one.
So so this movie came on the docket. It came in the order of movies that
We put it on last year before we decided to do Bad Movie Month.
That
it
is
got
true.
pushed.
And then it got pushed back to this year.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna do this film. So at this point I had forgotten he had gotten this film, and he kept talking about it. It's like, oh, okay, so let's do this film. So I watched it a couple of days ago, and it's just like, huh? What? Hold on. Whoa.
You had more to go off of than I did going into it, because I had already told you about Merlin.
You did. Because I was like, oh yeah, Merlin, the toilet paper.
Yes, toilet paper wizard.
Toilet paper wizard. Oh my.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And a guy who gets, yeah. And a girl who's a satellite. Okay, weird. And there's little plot points, and it's like, huh? What? What's the scene coming in from? What? Huh?
We'll get into it.
What? So
I especially like where they where he starts calling her by a different name, and there's no explanation why he did so.
yeah.
I don't know if that's the dub's fault or if that's just how it was in the script.
Who knows? Who honestly knows with this film?
We'll get into it.
Yes. So I would be like, I would watch it and be like, just general curiosity. If you're this kind of person who like obscure Korean film that is it's an English
film.
dub. It's an English
We do
dub.
have an English dub. It's actually for the dub is actually the recording is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I would
It is
agree.
done by NY Post
Okay.
out of New York.
Yeah.
Same
So-
people who did Your Name and Weathering with You.
Okay. So you got some good talent behind it.
In
So-
fact, the guy who voiced the main guy in Your Name, whose name I can't think of at the moment,
Mhm.
ironically,
Yeah.
he was the voice director on this.
Oh, really?
I didn't include that in the notes, but I remember seeing that on there.
Oh, okay. So I am struggling to say, do I recommend this movie or not? I really am. But yeah, if you're curious, just you can find it on YouTube for $1.99 and then go have fun with it.
It is a trip.
Yeah, it's
Say that.
like you're tripping over cow chips the entire time.
He uses the toilet,
Yeah. Yes, he uses the toilet. Oh
So-
gosh.
which led to one really awkward conversation.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that scene. Oh my gosh.
Moving on, shall we?
Yes.
Before we, since this is getting very spoilery, very quick.
Oh my.
Let's go ahead and drop the spoiler warning and get to talking about this film.
You had to bring that into my head again.
Yes, I did.
Ah!
Yes, I did.
Roll it.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie The Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. Listener discretion is advised. Satellite Girl and Milk Cow was written and directed by Hyung Yun Jang, who also wrote and directed the short that's on the Blu-ray, A Coffee Vending Machine and Its Sword. That's about the only thing that was in a language I could pronounce that he had done. I'm going to admit this because admittedly Korean's a little bit easier to pronounce than Japanese.
Right.
But there's still some of those words you're looking at and going, I don't know what that said.
Mhm.
I don't know what that's supposed to be. And I doubt if I said it wrong, no one would know it, but then no one would have heard of it either. But also I'll go with the special feature that's on the Blu-ray. And I watched a little bit of that, and that was trippy too.
Yeah, I did too. Oh my gosh.
It was also written by Young Kung Jung and Ji Young Park. with English script by Amanda Celine Miller. Getting into the English voice cast, playing Kyung Chun, aka Milk Cow, we have Daniel J. Edwards. And you remember that movie we reviewed with Dallas called Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions?
Yes.
He voiced Roland in that.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember who Roland is.
Me either.
But it's like, oh, there's a movie we reviewed.
Now, if Dallas was in the chat room, be like, oh yeah, I remember that character.
You may not remember who that is either.
Probably not.
'Cause that's not a main character name. That's a character created for that movie.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was apparently too lazy to go look at who he was. I'm sorry, it's been a hot minute since we watched Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, a little bit. Go back and go watch or go listen to that episode.
Yes. Playing Kitsat 1, we have Ryan Bartley. And in the Netflix dub of Neon Genesis Evangelion, she played Rey.
Oh,
That kind of fits.
kind of. Yeah.
I can see this.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
I can see it. Yes, I've listened. I've watched the Netflix dub of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Again, being the big fan of the original dub,
right.
I'm
it's
like,
always not. It's never going to be as good.
it's not. It'd be like, yeah, either or.
Either way.
Either way.
More on that later in the year.
Continue. Yeah, continue that in a year.
Kirk Thornton played Merlin, and he's Gabumon in Digimon.
You know what? That actually fits.
Yeah, it is his voice. That is most definitely. But here's some more fun. Cam Clark, who played Mr. O, which I believe was the actual hunter with the plunger.
Oh yeah, that mysterious weird character.
Yes. He played Leonardo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Which one?
the cartoon.
Which one?
The cartoon.
The 80s cartoon?
The one we are both aware of, yes.
Okay.
The original
Okay.
cartoon.
The 1980s cartoon.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Just
He's
clarification.
Leo.
Because
in
there's
that.
4 of them.
I know. That's why I said the cartoon.
Okay.
Not I don't know the names of the other shows. TMNT, the next. I know that's not the next mutation. That's the Saban one.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the one
4.
that crossed over with Power
4.
Rangers.
Yeah, I saw that crossover. Oh my gosh.
At least Venus kept her mouth shut.
Oh my gosh.
'Cause she's in there.
Yeah, and she's
But
coming
she
back in
never
the
says anything.
No, but she's in the comics
Yeah.
now.
Doug Stone, who voiced Mr. Byun, the one that Mr. O was working for.
Oh yeah.
Bear in mind, I could have these two confused
Probably.
because they never said their name.
No, they didn't
So
at all.
one of them is the hunter, one of them is who the hunter is working for.
Mhm. And all wants livers for some reason.
And in the video game Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1,
Huh.
he played Psycho Mantis,
Okay.
who literally could know what games you had played.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, because it
Mm.
would read your memory card.
Interesting.
Psycho Mantis didn't talk to Solid Snake, he talked to you, the player.
Oh yeah.
He made your controller move.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's one of those cool things about
Yeah.
that game that I never got to experience because I've never got that far in the game.
Hmm.
Well, last but not least, Julie Ann Taylor played the Witch of the North.
Oh yeah, the hog lady.
Yes,
She's the hog lady.
you could say she had Hogwarts.
Hoggy Hogwarts.
Moving on. And you won't know this one, but it's literally the only thing I could find that I recognized. In the video game and the anime for Persona 4,
Okay.
she played the character of Ai Ibihara,
Okay.
which tells you nothing.
No.
I just remember wishing this girl would go away, despite the fact she was a social link and I had to spend at least 10 visits with her, and she forced me to skip school.
Oh, how terrible. How terrible.
Anyway, moving on. Kingdom Hearts connections.
Is there any?
There's 5. What? Granted, 2 of them I cheated and went Smash Brothers.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Ben Diskin, who was additional voices in this, so I
Okay.
didn't list him earlier. He is young Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Cam Clark, who played Mr. O, is Simba in Kingdom Hearts,
Oh.
which would be adult Simba, by the way. So he replaced Ferris Bueller, who's I can't think of the actor's name right now. I'm sorry. Now I just pictured Simba saying, "That's a lot of fish." Same dude.
I had the exact same thought.
I can't think of. Why can I not think of his name?
You're welcome, Nate.
Anyway, also in Smash Brothers, he played the male version of Corrin
Oh, okay.
from Fire Emblem something or other. I don't remember which Fire Emblem.
Gotcha.
Anyway, Kirk Thornton, who played Merlin in this, is Sykes and Isa in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
But in Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, he plays Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay.
I want you to picture the roll of toilet paper talking about being the ultimate life form.
Oh my gosh. Now
I need to edit.
I have this image in my head. You have Shadow who's running around and there's a toilet paper attached to it.
I'll save you, milk cow.
Oh my gosh.
Here, use this. It's the good stuff. 2 pounds. Oh, this is going to be a weird episode. I can just tell. Lisa Ortiz was additional voices in this, and in Smash Brothers, she played Oshawott and Fletchling, 2 of the Pokemon.
Oh.
Tom Wayland, who was additional voices in this, played Keldeo and Arceus in Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay.
Also 2 Pokemon.
Interesting.
But specifically Arceus,
Hmm.
the god of Pokemon.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was God
Oh,
in a way.
And he's a pokey god.
Pokey God, yeah. That you can be captured by a 10-year-old.
That doesn't really make him a god, then, does it?
I'm just saying, this
If
is
they
the
get
weird
captured
thing.
by a
This is the
10-year-old,
weird thing about about Pokemon is God can be caught in a small ball. There's something wrong with that.
yeah,
on
just
so many levels.
little.
Proof that he's not actually God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anywho's.
that's actually the last Kingdom Hearts connection I have.
All right.
What do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So from what I've been able to glean from the internet and looking at the back of the
was
box
not much.
and gleaming from the back of the box, you know, that's the depth of research you have to do because you can't find this stuff. You have to go to the back of the box, look this itty bitty little time of a print, and put a magnifying on it. It's like,
I'll
okay,
put
this is
it-
what it says.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will put it to you this way. That cast list that I just read was most of the research either one of us could do.
Yeah, pretty much.
For
Pretty
this.
much.
There's that little information on the American World Wide Web.
All right. So IMDb, it has a 5.8, makes sense, out of 10. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube for $1.99. I think that's a good price for this movie.
Oh, really? Are
Maybe.
are we telegraphing your rating for this film?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Playing with this. We're just playing with it. We're milking the cow as we move along.
Can we not? Can we not? That's going to come up in our.
Yes, I know. I had to. Either or. Either or.
Oh.
So production was for Now or Never Productions, SBA Soy.
Sora,
Not
Soya?
Sora.
Soa.
No, it's a town in Korea. Soy.
Where is it? I'm missing it.
Bam.
Oh, you mean soul?
Seoul, thank you. I'm trying to say soul, but I'm
The E throws you off. I get
yes, it does.
Seoul, South Korea.
Seoul Animation Center, distributed by. I couldn't find the original distributor, so I'm just going with Shop Factory, Shop Factory USA, and it's now being distributed through G Kids.
The G Kids has the rights to it, and they distribute through Shout Factory.
Yeah.
Like Power Rangers distributes through Shout Factory.
Okay. Fair.
So yeah,
All right. So originally released in South Korea on February 20th, 2024, and here in the United States on June 2nd, 2018. Box office, there is no box office. No sequel, no nothing. I don't think there's a sequel. If there's a sequel out there,
What would it be?
I have no idea.
Rocket Boy and Pig Girl.
Probably.
That might be actually an interesting idea. Moving on.
So that's all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary, which I actually had to write at this time because I could not. There's not even a Wikipedia article.
No, there's not
on this.
It's literally here's a little bit of information here, a little bit of information here, done.
I'd like to point out Leo the Lion had a Wikipedia article, and this did not.
We don't talk about Leo.
Anyway, summary. The satellite KitSat 1. KitSat 1's. Let me start over. The satellite KitSat.
I'm not the only one saying words
KitSat
wrong.
is hard to say.
It is.
I'm sorry that I can't mispronounce your sister. What? Oh, spiritual sister, not your actual sister.
Oh, okay. This was gonna
Scare
get
me
weird.
half to death.
Yeah, come on.
My apologies, but still. The satellite KitSat 1's mission was to observe the Earth, and in doing so, she heard a beautiful song sung by a man she decided to meet, and so she fell to Earth. Meanwhile, the man she heard, Kyung-chun, was having his heart broken, and a mysterious black cloud turned him into a milk cow, and he was now being pursued by an incinerator. After nearly being caught by the incinerator, he is saved by Merlin, who is now a roll of toilet paper. The tree he was sleeping in got cut down by a paper mill. As Kyung-chun escapes, Merlin's fight with the incinerator is brought to an end when Merlin sees KitSat 1 falling to Earth. Thinking it's a shooting star, he casts magic on it to perform an attack and accidentally transforms the satellite into a girl.
Brilliant.
Brilliant move. Merlin and KitSat 1 end up crashing at Kyung-chun's apartment, and the three become roommates. Merlin gives Kyung-chun a human disguise suit so he can continue making money and having a life, and the three try to live normal lives. Now Kyung-chun is getting hunted by a man who steals livers from humans turned into animals by sucking them out with a plunger. KitSat 1, who was returning home after discovering that she'd been replaced by a number of other satellites, ends up saving Kyung-chun by firing a rocket arm at the hunter. The hunter, Mr. O, sells these livers to Mr. Byun, who in turn sells them to rich people. Mr. Byun and Mr. O don't care why the rich people think eating livers will help them, they just want their money. And neither are happy that the incinerator is honing in on their turf. Merlin ends up getting a visit from the Witch of the North, who herself has been turned into a boar. The witch offers to Kyung-chun a way to escape being hunted by coming with her to a place where neither the incinerator or the hunters can get him, but if he accepts, he'll never be human again. She says she'll give him until her next visit to make a decision. As time goes on, Kyung-chun and KitSat 1 end up falling in love with each other. After the incinerator, Mr. O discovers where Kyung-chun lives. They both attack him there. KitSat 1, who's been aware that even in her human form, she's slowly breaking down and won't last much longer, attempts to sacrifice herself to save Kyung-chun and gets trapped in the incinerator herself, now feeling all her depression all at once. Kyung-chun enters the incinerator to save her. They escape with the incinerator blown up and live happily ever after. I had to write the last half a lot faster than I did the first half. Can you tell?
Yeah, a little bit.
Getting into the trivia for this, and I only have one bit of trivia for this. KitSat 1 is an actual South Korean satellite which started off the South Korean space program.
Really?
KitSat stands for Korean Institute of Technology satellite. All right. Korean Institute of Technology Oh, yeah. I was right the first time. Communication, however, was lost with KitSat 1 in 2004. Roughly, 15 years before this movie?
Yeah.
So she'd been lonely a long time. Just putting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my trivia for this. What's your first like for this film?
My first like of this film would be it is Judy. Where'd I get Judy from?
I don't even know a Judy.
Judge Judy?
I was making an Olaf joke.
Samantha?
Exactly.
So it's got this Ghibli wonder to it as a film. It uses those very much like how Studio Ghibli would do their stories. You would have like these mysterious characters and you just kind of just follow their journey. And I thought that was very fascinating. I'm not a big fan of how it's executed in a lot of ways, but the Studio Ghibli wonder is just sprinkled throughout this entire film. And I think it's very interesting approach to do a film. Definitely, yeah. Because if you're trying to emulate Studio Ghibli, it's probably a good way to go. So that's my first like.
My first like in Hiss is all of the symbolism.
Okay.
So just let me put this in perspective. Let's say that this is, let's take out the fact that she's a satellite. He gets turned into a cow.
Okay.
She's a girl who's had a job that she's just found out is useless.
Mm-hmm.
But in the purpose of that job, she found someone she actually likes and went to find him.
Mm.
He got his heart broken and is now depressed.
Mm.
And the two find each other and fall in love with each other.
Okay.
And at the same time, they both have to help build each other back up, because she doesn't even realize she's going through depression, despite the fact
I gotcha.
it's painfully obvious to everybody else, because she doesn't even know where she has feelings.
True.
She's a satellite. She has less processing power than my watch. I'm sorry, that's mean, and because this is a little bit fairy tale, I'll admit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of nice little symbolist things in here. Yeah, and yet there's also a lot of things that aren't. And you can see the incinerator as the depression that's chasing both of them, and they both have to enter it and come out the other side with it blown up. Now, if you're going to ask me what the Hunters is symbolic of, I have no idea.
Nope.
I have no idea what Merlin is symbolic of either, or the boar, or the Witch of the North Boar.
Mm.
But I mean, there is like little bits of symbolism in here
definitely
that's just interesting. Also, he gets turned into a milk cow despite the fact he's a guy.
Yeah, which is
Because
wow.
because this is my theory.
Okay.
When he got his heart broken by that other girl, by seeing her with another man, he maybe compared his manhood, not his manhood, but his feelings of being a man. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Against this guy, and felt emasculated. So he got turned into
I gotcha.
milk-bearing bovine.
Okay, that was a good explanation.
That's the only one I can come up with.
Oh my gosh, that was brilliant.
I'm curious what the zebra was
Oh,
that we saw early on. What was his problem? If the cow was emasculated, what was the problem with the zebra?
That's
And for
some
that
deep
matter, what
psychology
happened-
there, man.
What happened to the Witch of the North to turn her into a pig? Or a boar, actually. It's more of a boar than a pig. But still, I know a pig is a boar, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
She ain't a sow, is what I'm trying
No.
to say.
Sorry.
Moving on. What's your second like?
My second like would be let me go with myself for really fast. Oink. So
Some pig.
yeah. I'm not growing a tail, am I?
No.
Okay, thank goodness.
Oh, she said there was way too much animal confusion in this. She's not even touching it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deedlitz.
Thank you. So it's the interesting love story between a guy who's a bit of a jerk, gets turned into a cow, a bovine, because he gets heartbroken by a girl that he liked, and she didn't have the same feelings for him.
Right.
Been there, done that.
It happens.
It happens. So
And I can understand why he took it hard.
yeah, agreed. Been there. And then you have this lonely satellite who's a girl, or gets transformed into
That's the question. Was
That's-
she a girl before she fell? You went ahead and added the pronouns for she, just to make sure.
it's a
But I mean, all
it's a
spacecraft-
machine, so it doesn't
all
have a gender.
Machines are generally ships are generally referred to as she.
Yes.
I don't know
Cars-
if satellites are,
Hmm.
but anyway.
Yeah. But like, so I don't know. Maybe Merlin just got a wild
That
sheet-
was an
a wild
accident.
sheet.
That was a stinking accident. He fired that magic at the what he thought was a falling star.
Uh-huh.
He had no idea what was going to happen. That much is obvious. Because what was going to happen with his magic? He was going to throw the shooting star at the incinerator. Was that what he was trying to do?
So Merlin has no real control over his own power.
Not his
apparently.
toilet paper. He doesn't.
Apparently.
This is the weirdest conversation
And-
you could overhear.
Yes, if you're walking in, if you're
Those of you who have just walked in on somebody listening to this, we apologize. We are actually Merlin got turned into a roll of toilet paper in this movie for really unknown reasons.
yes,
I can skip falling asleep and then get in the tree that he fell asleep in, going to a lumber mill and getting made into toilet paper.
I think we call it
get
homicide.
that. However, he can't come out of the roll of toilet paper for some reason.
Weird, right?
He probably could have come out of the tree. Why can't he come out of the roll of toilet paper? Anyway,
Anyways, so this interesting dynamic between Milk Cow. I'm just gonna call him Milk Cow.
yeah, that's because that's how they refer to him.
Milk Cow and
Milk Cow, Kitsat one, and
Yeah.
Merlin.
Merlin. And there's the dog. The dog is
Yes, the dog.
the dog.
That dog threw me off when I first saw him.
What the heck?
Because the thing is, despite what we've just described,
Yes.
Satellite getting turned into a girl, him being turned into a cow, the art was relatively realistic,
Yeah.
relatively.
Relatively.
And all of a sudden, we're in his apartment, and he starts talking to his dog, and the dog is freaking Gromit from Wallace and Gromit.
Yes.
That's how he's moving around and talking
Yes.
and walking. He drives a car at one point
Where'd you get
with
your license?
Merlin in the passenger seats. What? It's like we'll get to this later.
Yeah, we'll get to this later.
This
Yes.
movie does the tendency just to throw stuff at you and say, accept it and move on.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yes, I agreed. So it's this, like I said before, an interesting love story between Kitsat One and Cowboy. Cowboy. So it's like these two characters who can't stand each other and then instantly starting to fall in love with each other, even though she's a metal machine that's been turned into a
Or
girl.
was. I'm still not 100% certain if she's human or not, even though she has rockets. And
She's made of metal,
Oh, yeah, she has
she's
made of
heavy.
metal. I forgot about that.
but they changed that throughout the course of the film.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
There's it's not going to be my first dislike,
Mhm.
but one of mine's going to be involving that.
Mm-hmm. So it's
It's like for some reason, not only does she have a rocket arm, she has a rocket head at one point.
yeah.
And and it's like it just happens, and they never explain what's going on.
Thank you. Explanation. Anybody?
Minor. I don't need a full blown explanation.
No,
Just say,
just something.
give
Something.
me like two
Yeah.
lines to explain why she has these abilities.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get that in dislikes. So
But we still got likes to go through.
yeah, we still got likes to go through. So this interesting love story between Kitsat One and Cowboy.
You are not wanting to think of milk.
No, shush. Be quiet there. Be quiet, thee.
We'll get to that. That
Yes.
will be my first
Oh
dislike.
my gosh. Oh my gosh, you had to say that. That still gives me just like thinking
We'll
about
get there. We'll get there.
Yes.
Move on. Like, what did you like?
just the interesting love story. Okay, that's
Yes.
but it's like it has an interesting love story that two characters who obviously don't get along, and I would say it's kind of like this Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger kind of thing where they don't like each other at first. They eventually kind of
I
come
see
together. Minus these are two people, and this is a cow, a boy who's been turned into a cow, and a satellite who's been transformed into a metal girl. So yes, it's an interesting love story.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway, so yes, it's an interesting love story. Let's say that. It minus, yeah, let's not go there.
my second like is actually the scene where Merlin is fighting or trying to save Milk Cow from
Mhm.
the incinerator
Yeah.
as Kitsat One is first falling to Earth. That whole scene is beautifully animated.
I agree.
The fight scene, the shot of the satellite coming down, Merlin's magical spell
Mhm.
going and hitting it and coming back. It's like that whole sequence is like the most beautiful. It's great choreographed fighting.
Mhm,
The art in it is beautiful. It's just that whole part is well done. I think.
mhm. I agree.
So yeah, that's my second like.
My third like would be, and they're gonna be like, I did not write a third one down because I couldn't think of one. So
But you've thought of it now.
I've thought of it now. There are certain parts of this movie that are done very, very well, like animation wise. They're done
Yes.
very well, like choreographed, like the fight scenes are done very well.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, once you watch that short on there, the
mhm.
coffee machine and his sword, you can
Again.
see
Yeah.
where this guy had got his where the animator got a lot of his work,
Yeah,
where his skills lie.
mhm. Yeah, because the choreograph fights and the movements, the whole bit
Mhm.
are done very well. I think they're done on twos. I think maybe
I'd have to look at it again.
yeah,
This is a little bit of a budget piece, so it's
a bit.
not like it's not full Ghibli.
Mhm.
So yeah, it might,
It's
the whole
Ghibli-like.
movie might be animated on twos, if we're being
Yeah.
honest.
That's what I keep thinking.
As I don't think there was ever a spot where it felt like we had super smooth animation.
Yeah, I agree. There again, there are certain parts of the animation are done very well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying overall.
we'll get there.
We'll get there when we get there. So that's my third.
My third like actually is Merlin.
Really?
It's a stupid idea.
Yeah,
I grant you.
I would have went with the dog.
The dog. I think the dog,
is an interesting character.
I actually expected the dog to be one of yours, not because of your
that's
dog
my
thing,
plus.
but-
That's my plus.
Yes. But Merlin is an interesting character
Yes.
in this. Like I said earlier, this is the Merlin from the Arthurian legend.
Allegedly.
Might as well be. How are you gonna say it's not? He fell asleep in a tree years ago. The tree got turned into toilet paper, and somehow he made it to South Korea. Still has his magic. Has not run out of toilet paper, all things considered.
Apparently.
But the way he's a very interesting character. He is very what am I trying to say here?
He's a wise.
He's a wise, interesting character. The way his magic works is interesting. He's a good mentor, I think, to both of these people, both these kids.
He's a good Obi-Wan.
Yes, he's got a couple of great lines, like when he sees, like when he first sees Kitsat one after he transformed her. He goes, "Oh, it's a girl." 3, 2, 1. A naked girl.
Yeah, let's give her clothes.
Let's give her clothes. It's like, oh my.
Yes. Oh,
He did not
dear.
even think about it. He says, "Oh, it's a girl." Oh, wait a minute.
Let's clothe this thing.
Why
here.
and why is she cold? It's like, well, she's a satellite.
And
It's
metal.
like, and you shouldn't even know what that is because you're Merlin. But anyway, but everything like involving that character is just, it's well thought out. Like the fact that he uses the toilet paper to make Kyung's human suits.
Yes.
And if Kyung wears the human suit in the rain, it disintegrates
Yeah,
on him.
those are
That
good
was
parts.
brilliant.
That was brilliant. I agree.
I enjoyed that. And then the fact that I wonder about it when we get to like near the end of the film and we see that they're drying like 2 of Kyung's human suits in the wind and going, how much toilet paper do you have left, Merlin? Are you healing yourself somehow?
Are you regenerating?
How are
this
you
somehow?
regenerating the toilet paper? That tree is dead.
Well, to be fair, because Merlin does say early on, it's like, well, be like, take a little bit, be like, it's the good stuff, but don't take much because be like, that's half my magic. But he continued, like, we'll get there when we get there.
It's like that's the weird part of it. But I mean, the setup is like it's good to the point where when he's that scene there where we see it disintegrate on Kyung and he turns back into the cow and going, that was actually done very well. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I just kind of accepted he was pretty much human again, unless he had to take it off for some reason. And no, it's like you can't get it wet. That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
I was waiting for them to be out, like walking through there on a date or something, and a car accidentally splashes water on him, and all of a sudden, boom, cow in I'm assuming Seoul.
Yeah. Yes.
Running around
Yes.
and scaring people because somehow, despite the fact humans are getting turned into animals, no one seems to know about it.
Yeah. It'll be like you don't see.
Except for the hunter.
Yeah. It's the hunter makes no sense anyway.
That was just there for a secondary antagonist.
Yeah, I
'cause-
agree.
'cause
I agree.
The incinerator he's the real antagonist, but they couldn't give him much character
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason.
Agreed.
But anyway, that's my third
Okay.
like, and just because I want to get this out of the way,
Go for
I'm
it.
jumping in on my first dislike.
My gosh. Brace for impact, people.
Okay, Kyung Chun gets turned into a milk cow.
Yes.
Kyung Chun does not have one udder. He has 6 of what looks like stuff we would not put on television. He is more pig than cow.
Oink, 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 oink.
How does he have 6 of those?
How does he have 6 udders?
And
How?
why are they human skin colored and not pink like a cow's? Why is it not an udder? Dude, the Nickelodeon movie Barnyard at least gave the stupid male milk-bearing cows udders.
Gosh, you're right. Oh my god.
They didn't give him an udder. I understand why you hide them most of the time, because that's something that Nickelodeon movie didn't do.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my
But
gosh.
why does he have... I
understand it's
recognize he's not actually a milk cow as
but he's
in the
producing
bovine.
milk.
And I was like, what?
Okay, be like, I understand why they did that setup. Because
Yes.
they needed to raise money, and for some reason it's like, oh, he's a milk cow, and it's like
That was bound to happen from the beginning. That's
Yes.
so easy. You can see it coming from the minute you see him get turned into the milk cow,
right.
that he would have to end up selling his milk. And I understand why he's uncomfortable.
Yes, just a
'Cause who
little.
wouldn't be?
Yeah,
But at the same
it's like,
time,
and then Sally Girl walks in and it's just like, oh no.
but at the same time,
No.
why does he not have a cow's udder? Is it in the wrong spot? Is that what they were afraid of? Nickelodeon wasn't. Why is Nickelodeon doing better than this film with its male milk-bearing cows?
Oh my gosh.
This is something most people don't expect you. Once again, if you just walked in on somebody listening to this podcast, we're apologize.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've got veins popping in my head because I'm hard of laughing.
We understand that you just walked in on the craziest crap you've heard today,
Like,
or this week,
well, if
or
you,
this month,
or if you've
or
been-
this year.
or if you've been having a really bad day and you're listening to this podcast,
You're
we're
welcome.
making you laugh. You're
You are
welcome.
So welcome. What's your first dislike?
My first is like, okay, let me pull up the pad. Ooh. All right. My first like is in the same vein as my first like. It is a wannabe Ghibli film
Yeah,
that fails miserably.
it's close. You can tell what it's.
I understand
The
their
arts-
intention
Yeah.
was wonderful. I thought it was like, wow, this is a really good like concept to work with because it
Right.
sounds like something Ghibli would do.
and
but-
if they had delivered on this like 100%, I would have accepted it. Don't get me wrong, I still like this film.
Yeah.
because of how weird it is. I'll give you that. I like it because of how
Right.
weird it is.
Fair
And
enough.
I do think the love story is somewhat sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is trying to be Ghibli and
Buttermilk
failing
sweet.
miserably.
Yes, it is far from being Studio Ghibli, amazing kind of story. Studio Ghibli does some weird stuff, but it's good. It's got a, a stylistic to it, a storytelling to this. This does not.
Yeah.
This is like it's got the charm that a Ghibli does, that a Ghibli film does, but it lacks a lot of it.
Mhm.
It's its udders hang too low. I couldn't help it. Couldn't help
Are you saying that it's utterly it utterly fails?
in that, it's pasteurized way too long.
These are bad.
These are
puns.
bad puns. Oh my gosh! But
Not
you're
even
welcome.
clever puns.
That is my first dislike. This movie thinks it's a Ghibli. It's not really a Ghibli. It's more
My-
like giblets.
My second dislike for this film. Granted,
Second,
yeah, we're on second. My first dislike was the utter
that's right, yes,
or lack thereof.
like utterly ridiculous.
Yes. My second dislike is this. Here's the thing. As I've said 100 times on this episode already, I love how weird this film is.
Yes,
But I wish it actually was running some logic,
yes,
because this movie establishes no logic in the beginning. If you're sitting there and you're wondering how on earth are they going to get out of the situation, you just quit worrying about that, because it's like, oh, they'll pull something out of their butts that they hadn't shown us yet.
mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, how are we going to how is she going to save Kyung, our milk cow, from getting from the hunter? Oh, she'll fire her rocket arm at him. Wait, she has a rocket arm?
She got multiple of them.
She has multiple that she can put in that telescope box on her back. That is apparently if it's D&D, a bag of holding.
Yeah,
It's apparently bottomless.
it's got an extension charm on it.
Yeah. Or the other part, when she's getting angry at the bar patrons for making fun of him when he does accidentally transform in front of people.
Yeah,
And she just and she's trying to make herself look big, so her arm, of course, separates like it would. But then her head comes off. It's like, since when did you have a rocket neck? Granted, I can accept Merlin's magic as being, oh yeah, we can pull this out of nowhere and it makes sense. That's fine. Wizard did it is an entire concept for why weird stuff happens. And we have the wizard in the film who's doing it. So
Yes.
it's explained.
Makes sense.
But that with the side, granted, I know the magic made her
Mm-hmm.
or transformed her technically from the satellite to this.
Sure.
So maybe I can accept it, but I'm having to rationalize too much. And then there's the dog.
The dog.
Granted, I like the dog,
Yeah, dog's cool.
but he comes. First off, he shows up out of nowhere. You don't even know there's a dog in that apartment
Mm-hmm.
until Kyung talks to it and it turns around, and it's not even animated in the same style as the rest of the movie.
It's not.
The dog is like
Stands out like no one's business.
he's not crudely drawn.
No, he's
I don't know
not.
how a good way to explain it, but it's like those it's kind of like those crudely drawn animated things. He's drawn well, but
Mhm.
he's got that kind of look to it.
Agreed.
Like honestly, he kind of looks like Courage, the Cowardly Dog.
He does in a way.
Different, obviously, but that kind of art style
Mhm.
thrown into this Ghibli-esque world.
Yeah.
And then it's like the dog obviously is intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Granted,
Probably
the
more
dog.
intelligent than the human.
Almost very much so. And the dog, I think, even walks around on two legs.
It does.
Is nobody seeing this? This is like Ghibli-esque world where, as far as we know, the animals are normal. Is this a human that got turned into an animal?
Is
If it is, I need explanations.
Please, thank you.
Why isn't Merlin trying to help him? Why is he only helping Milk Cow? And why can the dog not speak if he's a human that got turned into an animal? Why is he mute? Or is he just a dog that we decided to go full cartoon on him?
Probably the latter.
I'm not. I don't get me wrong. I like that he's there. He's funny to watch. He's like
He
some of
is.
the brightest spots in some of the scenes.
Agreed.
Especially
Agreed.
when he is driving that
Oh my
car
gosh,
in the
Merlin.
chase away from the hunter
In the incinerator.
in the incinerator. That is, he does a great job there, and I love how Merlin is even making fun of his driving. It's like, he's a dog. He's not supposed to drive in this world.
Thank you, Merlin.
It's like it comes off. It's weird.
Agreed. It is weird.
I like it. I like all the other the stuff they did with the girl. I just hate that the way we learn this
Mhm.
is that the scene happens. They needed something to happen,
Mhm.
and it just happens with no world building to tell you why it's happening.
True.
No world building
Anyone?
in this. You would go into it, and all you get is, oh, This is an Earth-like world. Merlin existed. That's okay. So magic exists. Get
Mhm.
that. Emotional trauma somehow turns humans into animals, but
Mm.
yet nobody knows this. Okay,
People
I'll go
get
with
freaked out for
There's a
some reason.
random incinerator running around the countryside that is not making it on the news.
Mhm.
Okay,
Is he invisible?
I can kind of work with it. Is this a spiritual thing?
Mm-hmm.
You need to tell me something.
Yeah.
And no, it's all happening. Oh, and somehow the most out of everything I just said, the most unbelievable part of this.
Okay.
KitSat 1 as a satellite could hear him playing that song from space.
He's not even recording it. It's just
He's playing it live.
it's
She can't. She shouldn't even know what he looks like because he was in a building.
or was he outside?
He was in the building in that first shot.
That's right, he was. Oh my!
There was another
yeah.
shot that she saw him in where he was outside.
That's right,
maybe
that's
that.
right.
But at the same time,
That's right.
at the same time, this is a 1992 satellite.
Yeah,
We had 480 cameras. It's in space. It's 2,000 miles away. They did not get that good a picture of this kid on this stupid satellite. You're going to be lucky to get the outline of Korea and to see there's the difference between North Korea and South Korea at night.
oh my gosh.
Some of this I like, don't get me wrong, but when you start adding it up, it's like
Makes no sense.
logic.
Yeah.
Where did you go? I don't mind you doing all this stuff. Do not get me wrong. I need a logical framework that on why all this can happen. Just saying magic and a wizard did it, and that only covers so much in
Yes,
this movie.
agreed.
Because there's actually a wizard who's doing it, and
Yes.
he can't be doing all of it.
Yes, agreed.
The witch ain't helping him. That much is obvious. Because this is like a witch from like Howl's Moving Castle where they don't freaking do anything except turn girls into old women.
Yeah.
Or in this case, take cows to pastures where they can't turn into human again. Huh?
Anyone?
Okay.
Exactly.
Anyway,
What the frack?
third dislike. Jake. Second dislike, Jake.
Second dislike. Thank you. My second dislike is exactly Drew's. Explanation. Anyone? This doesn't make any sense to you. Anyone? This movie, it's just like, what in the world? It's like you talked about, like every point you just hit was straight on the hoof with this movie.
And
There,
like I-
it doesn't explain a single bloody thing. I mean, it expects you to fully just buy into what's going on. Like I said, it's a wannabe Studio
stuff
Ghibli.
happens, and you
Mhm.
must accept it.
You must fully accept what's
The
going
di-
on.
Okay, this was a problem I had the first time I watched Spirited Away because I really didn't know what I was looking at.
Mhm.
But the more I've watched Spirited Away, the more I see the logical underlinings.
Yeah.
This is the second time I've seen this film. I can tell you there is not a logical point
No.
from A to B to C to D.
No, there's
There's no
not.
framework in this.
No.
Stuff just happens. Granted, I'm fine with that under most circumstances. But
Right.
you're going to ask me to make a critical opinion about this?
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Yeah. There's KitSat. Be like, she gets transformed into a human, a girl human who's metal. And that's fluctuates throughout the entire movie to the point where she's just a human with a metal arm.
That last scene is just, I can maybe kind of go with, now that she realizes she's in love, she's become human so much that the magic has somehow made her less rockety and more human,
more
but yet she
fleshy.
still has her rocket powers.
Yeah, and she can still pop her head off.
Okay.
Here's the one thing that still okay. You have the incinerator, like no explanation whatsoever. What the
Wow.
incinerator is, be like you could probably you could philosophize about this for an hour, probably, about how it's just really like it just consumes things that have lost their will to live or something like that.
You can rationalize that
Everything about
to
it.
heck and back.
Yes, but it still makes no sense.
But it's still just like, oh, it's an incinerator that eats things. It's like, if it's why an incinerator? Why is it not like a grill? Why is it not making delicious burgers? out of milk cow.
That would have made more sense.
That would have made a ton more sense.
Anyways,
Zebra burgers. Can you imagine it? Sausage. The Witch of the North could be giving us bacon.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
I really hope
The
those
veins
of y'all
are
in the,
popping, y'all.
I really hope those of you in the Twitch chat have been doing a good job of clipping these.
Thank
'Cause
you.
if not, I'm gonna have to go back there and do it myself.
Oh my gosh. So, like, yeah, you have the villains of this movie, they're like the incinerator. There's no explanation for who he is, what his motivation is, why he's here. Be like, apparently he wants to roast cow, apparently, or
He's
zebra,
just trying to
or whatever.
consume the animals, and apparently he's making his way into the city.
Mm-hmm. And
Where
no
was
one
he
else
been?
can see this.
And no one else can see this. Where has he been this whole time?
Yeah.
And why, if people are turning into animals here as much as they were in the country, why isn't there another incinerator here?
Yeah.
Why is there only one that's doing all this? Surely, if this is a real problem, there would be more of them.
Yeah. And then you go into Hunter, his character. Yeah,
those
he-
two guys, those two goobers.
Makes no sense. Be like, okay, I
You,
understand.
you want to talk about magic?
Yeah.
That guy can jump in and out of everything.
Yeah. He's got this teleportation thing. It's never explained. It's like, it's okay. I'm waiting. I'm waiting with bated breath to find this explanation. It's never given. And it
That's-
drives me nuts.
That guy has more magic than Merlin.
Merlin,
does.
exactly. Why don't you put him against Merlin and have a really,
He's
really
gonna
cool
win.
epic fight? Like, all he's got to do is put his plunger on Merlin. Merlin's gone. And that plunger, it's like, what in the world? Is it magically enhanced? What's going on here?
And I would like to point out that the only reason I continue to say they are sucking out their livers
Yeah,
is because that's what they said they were, that what that thing was in the movie.
yeah,
I'm looking and going, is that a heart? Is that a stomach?
yeah,
Is that just an amorphous blob because you couldn't bother to draw it?
yeah.
He could be a liver. I don't know.
It looks kind of like liver. It's got a similar shape.
Right.
It's got the color, but
It's
there it
got
could be
eyes
anything.
and a mouth, so it could
Exactly.
be alive.
So what is it? Be like the liver that is somehow maybe it's a South Korean thing. I don't know.
It could be a cultural thing that I don't get.
Yeah,
I'll
there
admit
again,
that.
those people in our audience and those who are listening, be like, if you know anything about South Korean culture, please let us know, because apparently we just don't know.
I will admit that is something I don't know about, but everything else is still an actual issue.
Yes, be like, like I said before, explanation. Anybody, a Studio Ghibli movie, it's like,
Because
oh,
even if you don't know what it is,
yeah,
even the stuff that Disney didn't do and try to add like a bunch of stuff that they really didn't need to,
mhm.
it at least implies a lot when you're watching it.
Yes,
This just gave nothing.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, you're in a scene. There's a cow.
oh my gosh,
He's talking to you.
yes,
He assumes you know he used to be human. Oh, and there's a satellite too, and she's gonna fall in love with him. Yes, the satellite's a girl.
yeah, just got to buy into it, and this
Accept
is
it.
accept it.
Oh, and you see this roll of toilet paper? That's a character.
That's
He's a wizard.
wizard?
He's not just a wizard. He's Merlin, the magician who helped King Arthur in Arthurian legend.
And apparently he's a piece of toilet paper. Who
Because he fell asleep. This is the only explanation of
Uh-huh.
anything we get in the whole movie. He fell asleep in a tree because Merlin did sleep in tree.
yeah,
Did
he-
sleep in a tree because he's part fairy,
yes,
or he's fully fairy. I don't remember
or
which.
demon, depends on what lore.
Either way, so he could fall asleep in trees, and it kind of makes sense that if that tree got cut up into toilet paper, he would then be in the toilet paper at the end of it. And I'm still sitting there going, you could have left the tree, right?
Yeah,
You can't leave the toilet paper. What in that process of manufacturing toilet paper stuck you in that position forever and ever? Amen.
yeah. This again,
Was it the
explanation,
bleaching?
please.
Was it
Anybody.
the quilting method? Did it stitch you
Was
in
it
there,
double
Merlin?
wide?
Is it because it was 4-ply?
You're not kidding. You're not kidding.
There's
oh my
no
gosh.
explanation. So
No,
he can't
there's
leave that
not
stupid
explanation.
form.
Like again, we can philosophize and stretch everything out beyond belief. It's like some people, like Drew said at one point, explaining something in college because you're doing digital graphic design and you're just to you're
I just want that much.
yeah.
there's
Give me
n-
something. Nothing.
Give me BS.
Yeah.
Give me BS. You're not even giving me BS. You're just
Yeah.
like, this is
Create
happening. Deal with
something.
it.
Do something. Pull a Studio Ghibli. Thank you very much. Pull a Studio Ghibli and just be like, okay, this is a world, and just let us know what's going on. This is like, nope, we're giving you nothing. So yeah, that's
Bear
my
in mind, I like this film.
fair. This is my second dislike.
Your second dislike. My third dislike. The scenes Just
Exactly.
start
What the frack?
and then end, and then we go to another scene. It's not that we're looking at skits or edited together episodes that were kind of rushed
Exactly.
together.
This
This
feels
is
like
just
it.
how the movie is made.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't even tell me. You can't look at this and tell me how much time even passed
No.
from the beginning to the end of the film. Because on one hand,
No.
it looks like it has to be at least a year
I feel like
for that
Mark Wahlberg.
relationship really to make
No.
sense. That relationship makes sense. It looks like it had to have made it happen. It took at least a year, because if you go by the actual amount of
Mhm.
time, that kind of also looks like had to have been within like 5 days.
Yes.
And yet also bear in mind, this satellite, 1992,
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of processing power
Mhm.
on a satellite
Yeah.
of this that's just designed to capture video and apparently audio. I don't know how capturing the audio
Mhm.
helps, but that is actually listed on the Wikipedia article
Yeah.
for the actual KidSat-1. I don't know how you do that, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then broadcast it to a place on Earth. Because honestly, from what I researched on KidSat-1 itself, the entire purpose of the satellite was to teach South Korea how to build satellites.
Are you
They had
serious?
to launch it because they'd never done it before. They were, doing so they had as basic a mission as they could get.
Yeah.
Film the peninsula of Korea.
Yeah.
There's 2 reasons you film the peninsula of Korea, especially if you're South Korea.
Mhm.
You're either A, really curious about your own people,
Yeah.
or B, you're worried about your neighbors to the north.
A little.
I
little.
suspect it's the second. So I suspect there was also a lot of classified information about what was actually going on with KidSat-1.
Oh, that would have made a better story.
That would have made a much better story. Have the incinerator come from North Korea.
Or at least it's part of the government trying to track
Have
down
the
KidSat-1.
hunters be working for North
Thank you.
Korea,
That's
and
better.
it's capturing these animals to shove them across there to work for the communists. Better movie already. But no, that's not what happened.
Nope. We got this instead.
Which this is fine
It's fine.
for the most part.
For the most part. You're not kidding. For the most
It's
part.
like, but the actual KidSat-1, that's back to
Yes.
my point.
Back to
It was primarily, from what I could tell, they never said this, but this is what kind of how it feels it was
Mhm.
implied, because there was a lot of learning process
Mhm.
in the building of the satellite, even though they were working with other companies or people who had built satellites and had them up there, But a lot of this was like, we're getting South Korean space program started with the launch of KidSat-1.
Yeah.
KidSat-1 was basically their Sputnik.
Okay, it makes sense.
That's the best way I know how to explain it.
Yeah.
At least from what I could tell.
Okay.
So yeah, it did get a nickname,
Mhm.
which I tried translating it, but I think that's where the term Liho came from. The other name he calls her,
Liho.
it's I say think because the nickname they give that translates into our star.
Hmm.
But when I put Liho into Google Translate to try and get it to go and back and forth, or try to get our star to
Mhm.
to translate back into Korean, and so I could hear Google Translate try to
Yeah.
say it. It never said Liho.
Hmm.
And ironically, the only reason I got that far and figured out that must be what that meant was I was looking up some other satellites, and for some reason on some list it was listing like some of the known North Korean satellites.
Yeah.
They all have Ho in part of their name,
Mhm.
and they translate to star. So that's how I made that connection.
Oh, okay. Fair.
It's like North Star satellite, South stuff like that.
Okay.
Nothing, the stuff that is actually known.
Okay.
But I don't even remember where I found it, because I was just trying to come up with something.
Right.
And So I think that's what Leho meant.
Okay.
The one time he calls her that
Mhm.
out of flipping nowhere.
Yeah. No explanation.
It's like, why didn't you just call her Kitsat 1? I get that probably in the original
Mhm.
script,
Yeah.
that's what he called her in that scene. And maybe the person who was writing, I don't remember her name, but maybe the script writer for the English version just left that part in there,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, that's her name. That's another word for her name, because it is. Because I mean, they even switch back and forth between Milk Cow and Kyungchun
Hmm.
all the time.
Okay.
It's like, pick one.
Please. Thank you.
Just call him Milk Cow. I don't need to know his real name.
Brr.
I really don't need to know his real name.
Mhm.
You didn't give the witch a real name. Why do
No.
I need to know his real name?
Because he's a real boy.
And just call her Kitsat 1 or Cat 1. She already has a nickname. It's Cat 1.
I think I already know what the album art's going to be, and it's going to be funny.
I'm just saying that none of that was even on my thing, but there, because my dislike I'm trying to point out is how it just goes from scene to scene to scene with no transition,
Mm-hmm.
which leads to the fact that you can't tell how much time has passed,
No.
even in a relative sense. I don't need to know absolute time, of course. I just need to give a general idea that a set amount of time has passed, and I can't tell you give you an idea what that set amount of time is here.
Okay.
It's just
Fair.
time passed, and I have no idea how much or if it was enough to even do anything,
Okay.
because scenes just start and stop, and they act like, oh yeah, life happened in between here. We didn't talk about it
Mhm.
because it wasn't an important scene.
No.
Okay, fine. You could have done something to give me an idea. I mean, how did she get all the way to what I'm assuming was the Korean Institute of Technology to find out that there were other KIT satellites
Mhm.
and back? How did you know how to get there? You're a satellite. You don't have GPS.
You're yeah. It'd be Tom. You get lost.
How did you know how to get there? You didn't have the address. You should
ET phone home.
Dude, I get that part.
Right.
I understand why she was trying to make communication. I've seen Star Trek the Motion Picture. I get it. V'ger.
Feature. My gosh.
Kitsat 1 is V'ger confirmed.
Oh my gosh.
Because it kind of is.
You're not kidding.
She is trying to get with
Oh my.
to touch the creator in a way.
Oh jeez.
The way V'ger was.
Oh my gosh.
Except this creator
You're
is
hurting
a
my
milk
head.
cow. Either way, the fact that there's just so much and like no, you get points A, B, C, and D, but no way to know how you got between those.
Yes.
I guess is what I'm trying to get.
Yes.
The scenes make sense by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but how we got from scene A to scene B does not, is what I'm
Yes.
trying to say.
Wow.
Anyway, what is your third dislike?
The exact same thing. to give an explanation, they set up the scene perfectly and there's no resolution to it whatsoever. Here's the scene. So we have the witch of the west or east?
North.
The witch of the
Which
north.
of the North?
Be like
Which
meets
tells me she's
meets
North Korean.
cowboy meets cowboy, whatever his name is.
Milk cow.
Milk cow, milk cow, milks milk cow.
I hope not.
No, we don't need more of that. Thank you very much. So
You don't
milk
talk about
milk
milk
cow,
cow. Wow,
moo,
wow.
moo, moo. You're welcome. So there's the scene where they meet in the playground. They meet in the playground. And so he says, I don't know, because he's a little whiny baby character. So
he's a barely adult.
yeah, I agree.
He's not a high school student, but he's not a teenager anymore.
True.
He's a teenager, but he's not a high school student. That's what I
Right,
mean.
right. Understand.
He's 19.
He's 19.
-ish.
And apparently he was in the runner-up for some TV show, American Idol kind of thing. But
I can see that.
I can see that. But
and he's probably was a good guitar player, good pianist.
probably pianist. So the scene setting up, it'd be like he's meeting the witch, and he says, "No, I really don't want to do this." be like, I've got too much to live for, kind of thing. And she walks off, and this little girl sees and be like, oh, cow. And he picks the girl up. And my first thought is like, why are you picking this child up? You're a cow. And so walks over, so confused, like, what the heck? And like the citizens go crazy. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a cow, it's a mutant. We got to get rid of it. I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, we're gonna do really cool, like,
Yes.
character growth and development and put social norms in here. This sounds great. And then Settler Girl shows up, just blows the cop away.
Yeah.
And just be like, and they just walk off. And
That's the end of the scene.
in the scene, nothing, there's no resolution to this scene whatsoever. And throughout the entire film, it's like that. The two, they
Better yet, the scene where they happen to run into each other on their way home,
Mhm.
but for some reason they're going different directions.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
Whatever.
Yeah.
At some point in all that, she ends up. No, I remember she is trying to fly back home. That's
Yeah.
what it was, and he is walking because that's all he can do.
He's a cow.
And she head dives into the
Oh my
ground,
gosh.
face plants
Mhm.
in front of him.
Her
Bear
power
in
is
mind, he has turned it back into cow at this point because it's raining.
up.
And he looks at her, goes, and she goes, hi, Kyung Chun. He goes, hi. And he just keeps walking past because he's obviously pissed.
Yeah.
He comes back and just, he acts like he's going to pick her up out of the dirt to be the nice guy because he knows she has to get home too.
Mhm.
She can't, if she can't stay out and all this. But then he doesn't, he just walks back off. It's like, you're going to leave her out here? What kind of an idiot are you?
A baby.
Because, and I'm not just talking about because he's being a jerk.
Yeah.
He's being a jerk. Don't get me wrong. That's not the main problem I have with this. She's a freaking satellite girl. She is a robot girl who, if the wrong people find her, and I don't mean the hunters, I mean the Korean version of the FBI.
Right. Yeah.
If the wrong people find her,
Look how
they're
better
gonna find
story
you.
going there.
oh, look, it's like if you actually stole from somebody else, then just, we got hunters who could steal livers.
Okay.
And the hunters don't even know if the animal can live without the liver.
No.
We don't even see the zebra. What happened to the zebra after they stole its liver?
All we see is like, there again, the animation in the movie is choppy as can be.
But it's choppy in a good way.
In a good way. It's like chopping
It's-
out a liver. It's not a good process,
It's
but
just there's
it's okay.
with all the other okay. If the story is not going to tell us,
Yeah.
then we need at least
Mhm.
through the animation
True.
see what's going on.
Yes.
They don't give you that because
No.
once the only animal we see they steal the liver from
Yeah.
is that zebra.
Yeah.
And after he steals, after he takes the liver out of the guy,
Uh-huh.
we never see the zebra again.
No, we
Not
don't,
even in
no
that scene.
confirmation whatsoever.
You see him pull the liver out, and the zebra might as well at that point just teleported somewhere else
Yeah.
because we don't even in that scene see the zebra anymore.
Yeah.
Because the camera's facing away from him. So we're like, is this obviously you're implying that the stealing of the livers is a bad thing? But and of course they don't care because they just want money. That's
Yeah.
why they're the bad guys.
Of course.
Not even good bad guys. But we don't even know what the actual issue is with them stealing livers because granted that's bad, but why is it bad? Is it going to kill him?
Mhm.
We've seen no evidence of this.
Yes.
Is it going to be some weird Asian thing where that's controlling like his humors and it makes him downtrodden and depressed? Well, he's a zebra. Obviously, he's had some kind of emotional heartache at this point
Mhm.
anyway. This is just going to make it worse, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Hmm.
And then there's that explanation they start giving with, wait, why do these rich guys want to eat livers and such? Oh, they think it'll make them human again. What?
What?
You say that and then you do nothing with it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like have a scene where like this rich person buys the liver, like maybe they're a cow or whatever. I mean, like, and this
Right.
something. Give me something. Let me grab something and hold on to it for bring me back to the
There's
movie.
so much of this. And Grant, I like this film. I have to keep saying that because I've kind of kicked it to the curb.
I like this movie. I like this movie. I like this
this movie, but these are issues that we have to talk about.
Yes.
I do like this film, but because I like it for its weirdness.
Mm.
But like I said, the problem is I need, like I said earlier, I need a logical framework for the weirdness to work.
And there is none.
And there's not any. The weirdness still works by itself if you were watching it on a scene by scene basis.
Yeah.
And there is a story.
Yeah, there is a story.
Somewhere.
Odd story.
But it's there.
Yeah.
But there's like no framework to get you from point A to point B.
Agreed.
Anyway, do you have anything else to add?
No, just again, give me context. What's going on? Something. That's all I ask. That's it.
I'm actually rating this a 6.5.
Wow. Okay.
I do like the film, as I've said 100 times already.
You've had to tell yourself over and over and over again.
Right.
After,
but like I said, from a movie making standpoint,
yes.
from a quality of filmmaking standpoint, from just a storytelling standpoint, there's a lot to knock off.
Yeah.
I enjoy it for its chaos, for its strangeness, for its comedy in a lot of cases.
Right.
But as a story, as something I would suggest this for someone like, do you want to just watch something stupid?
Yeah.
I would gladly give this someone like, do you want a stupid love story that really doesn't make any sense?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, sure, I'll watch that. It's like, here you go. Satellite girl and milk cow. She's a satellite, he's a cow. Yes, the milk cow. No, they're not. There's no social commentary on the fact that he is a milk bearing cow. Don't go thinking that. It's just, they are, have fun. They're going to fall in love with the end of it. That's not a spoiler. You know it by looking at the cover. C'est la vie. 6.5 because the story needed fleshing out. That's what it comes down to. The story needs fleshing out.
Yes, agreed. Oh my god.
What's your rating on this?
My rating would be I am so I'm gonna, oh my gosh, I don't know, 4.5. I
actually expected it lower.
I'd be like, I'm not gonna say this is a
this is not bad movie month.
No, this is not bad movie month. No,
but yeah, I expect you to have rated this lower.
No, it'd be like
5.
to give the movie credit to credit what is credit due. It is trying to be. It is trying so hard to be a Studio Ghibli film, trying to be, and it fails in so many aspects. The story makes no sense. We're giving no context to whatever the story is trying to tell us. Be like our pastor says, context is key. And this movie gives us nothing. Like a Studio Ghibli film is going to give you a little context through storytelling, through visuals. This movie gives you nothing. And it drove me nuts the entire movie. I'm like, what? Definitely the milking scene was like, what?
I already mentioned all the problems with that scene.
You did. I agree. It's terrible. It's like, what the world is going on here? You're like, I just
that scene will make you lactose intolerant.
Yes, it will. Oh my gosh. Either or. So yeah, 4.5. Like I really didn't like this film. I appreciate what they're trying to do in this film, but it's just not working for me. So it's a 4.5. You can go watch it. You can go rent it on YouTube for $1.99 and go watch it for yourself. If you've never seen it, go watch it. Make your own opinion. Be like, you might watch this like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. We might fight you on it, but it's your opinion. So go watch it for yourself.
Always go watch it for
yourself. Be like,
we're just two idiots on the internet who like to talk about our opinions.
Exactly.
Go form your own.
Yeah, go form your opinion.
Don't talk about it in our Facebook group, because that's the entire purpose of it.
Exactly.
Go talk to us. We want to have fun with y'all.
Yeah, have a conversation about it. Start a conversation.
Would you like to know what our next movie we're reviewing is, Jacob?
Yes.
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, the original?
No, we already reviewed the original.
That's right, we did. And we reviewed the live. We reacted to the live action.
To the live action of that.
So
movie.
we are reviewing
a stop motion film.
Yes, from
that came out last year.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, my neighbor Guillermo del Toro.
I love that. So
join us next week for that. I'm going to hit the the intermission bumpers, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what we watched, some news, and then X-Men.
Yes.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They are not just a podcast. They are an entire network of shows, podcasts, and YouTube videos that are designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional. There is their podcast, Com Talk. There's another podcast where they read books, allegedly. There's also another podcast where they look through the Gundam Watch. And if you like movies, just like we do, you can check out them reviewing bad movies over at The Bottom Shelf. So you can find all their content and more at geekdevotions.com.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Melanie Dubois.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
Deela, did your voice change for the
Sure.
Patreon shoutouts?
It did.
Oh, that's because you had to temporarily use an older sound chip, voice chip. I see. And you didn't want to re-record everything. Okay, I understand.
Got it.
Wanted to double check on that because it sounded odd for a second there, but yeah.
A little.
Anyway, you ready to jump into what we've been watching?
Sure.
Then let me go ahead and ask you that question.
What have you been watching?
All right. So what have I been watching? So I watched this show, the movie we just reviewed. And then it was like, I found this one. It's something new on Disney Plus, and it's called Egypt with the Greatest Explorer. It's on Disney Plus, and it's about, who Ray Fiennes is, right?
Yes, I know who Ray Fiennes is.
Okay, so his younger brother is also an actor. Jonathan.
I think.
Yeah, he's also an actor, but also they have a very famous cousin who is Sir Ranson Fiennes. Apparently, he's one of the world's best known world's living explorer. Like, the man's been everywhere. And so apparently these two got together and did a little adventure, and they're going throughout all of Egypt, going down the Nile, visiting the pyramids, and all these amazing things. And it's really, really cool to see these two people who really I've never met. And I thought it was really fascinating. I watched that and I was like, wow, that was pretty good. That was really, really good. And so watch that. It's on Disney Plus. I think it's like 4 episodes. It's really, really good. It's part the National Geographic. It's really good. Highly recommend it. And then I know this show has been out for a little while, so I saw it and I was like, you know what, this is pretty interesting artwork. I mean, like, it's actually a Marvel cartoon.
Oh,
yes, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Oh, that just started up for the first time. Like,
Yeah.
the comic book's been out a while. But
Yeah, be like, I think the show's been out for like a couple of weeks, I think.
yeah, a couple weeks.
Yeah, so I
For
watched
a second there, I thought you were talking about something that's been out for years and you just never got around to.
Yeah, no, be like, I watched it. I was like, I love the artwork they have for the cover, and I was like, you know what, that's kind of interesting. And it's the animation is, it's good. It's very much modern animation today, and the characters are flat, like flat. It's just pancakes.
I mean, that's the style.
That's the style of animation. The interesting how they layer the characters or how they make them look more dimensional is interesting. How Moon Girl becomes Moon Girl, and she brings a dinosaur back through a portal that she is. The setup is that this little girl, who's 13, apparently a genius in her own grade, is trying to help her community out because apparently they keep running into power outages. So she thinks if she can crack this code, she can, have sustaining power to her neighborhood for her family's roller rink can stay open. So it turns out it's a supervillain who's stealing the power. And in the course of discovering to what this energy source is, it's a portal, and this big red dinosaur comes through. So yeah, Moon Girl and I just had the name
Devil Dinosaur.
Devil Dinosaur, also known as just Devil. And it's interesting. It's very cute. It's very whimsical. It's got an interesting premise to be like, I haven't finished the first one yet because I had to come over here, but I was like, it's not bad. It's not my style of animation, but it's really interesting storytelling, and it's very, 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 very modern. And so yeah, I watched that. I was very intrigued by it. And I was like, okay, so yeah, that's something I've watched. What about you?
That's all you watched?
Is there anything else I watched that I don't remember?
I don't know what you watched. I just thought that's one. You said 2 things.
Yeah, 2 things.
Okay, it's very fine.
Now,
I got a couple things. I have a couple things.
So what have you been watching?
Well, as you know, I was kind of binging through Power Rangers Turbo.
Yes, we don't talk about Turbo. Whoa.
I did finish Turbo.
You did?
That ending? I know you've been watching through Power Rangers in Space.
Yes.
Did you back up to Chase into Space? To
No,
see
no,
why
but I remember why they.
Right. Because honestly, if you're going to go into Power Rangers in Space, that 2-parter opening really is a 4-parter.
Yeah.
With the other 2 being the season finale
I agree.
of Power Rangers Turbo.
Yeah.
Because good night, that way that ends just like, oh my goodness, this is awesome and epic and amazing. Yes, they're destroying the command center. They destroyed Zordon's tube, even though Dimitri had been inhabiting it for the last year.
Right.
Demetria. Hate you, Demetria. I really do hate Demetria. She's a bad mentor, okay? The Power Trip guys agree with me.
Okay.
She only will answer your questions with another question because that's apparently how their language works. Except halfway through it, the writers gave up on that and just had her just talk.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Still,
yeah.
And of course, it's played by the same person who played Divatox in the first half. Because the Divatox from the movie had to go on maternity leave.
Right.
She came back for the second half, and she's a much the Hillary something Turner. Can't think of her full name. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's a much better Divatox.
Okay.
To the fact that she's just chewing on the scenery half the time.
Okay. Fair.
It's like Ivan Ooze kind of.
Oh yeah.
Except lady in a sexy bodice and
right.
You've been watching Astronema. That doesn't count. Granted, Astronema looks better, but still. But that whole part where she's just such a good character in the second half.
Yeah.
Honestly, the power transfer where the last of the old Rangers finally retires.
Yeah.
And we get they restart it with a whole new team, basically. Really, it feels like that is the season finale for season 1 of Power Rangers Turbo. If we were cutting this up like a Neo Saban season.
Yeah.
And then the second season is so much better because they are leaning into the comedy. Because the first season they're trying to do this whole we're growing up, we're becoming adults. That kind of story is good, but at the same time you're pairing it with a parody and a Sentai. And you just get tired of Divatox throwing detonators at everybody.
Right.
Which is ironic because they blow up this command center at the end of this. Great, second time they blew up the command center, but this time it's permanent. Of course.
Of course.
And of course, do you know who is the person who actually destroys the tube that Zordon hung out in?
I don't remember.
Elgar, the idiot, is the one who destroys
That's right.
the power tube.
That's right. He does. Oh my gosh.
It's like, why? Okay, that's still kind of cool, but it's like, I'd rather it have been Porto or what's his name?
What's his name?
I don't remember the Power Rangers name because he as a Power Rangers villain character, he has no personality and no character. I know his Sentai counterpart because I've been watching that also.
Mhm.
Gekiso Sentai Karenja. He is President Dynamo, the actual leader of the villains.
Right.
So I know him as Dynamo. I don't know him as whatever his Power Rangers version is. But that is Car Ranger. I'll go ahead and make that transition. Car Ranger is such a different show. It is a parody, but it's like they make this. It's like, okay, you know how every season they have to have an excuse why the monsters grow.
Yes.
In Car Ranger, in Turbo, she shot these torpedoes that somehow made them grow.
Yes.
In Car Ranger, they buy a certain type of sweet potato
you
dessert.
telling me this.
I did talk about this because I did start it, but I had to restart it after Turbo. That somehow makes them grow, but they have to buy it from this one restaurant or stand or whatever. Because if they buy the convenience store stuff, it makes them shrink.
Too weird.
Because it's even though it's not, expired per se, it's not fresh.
Oh, okay.
It has to be fresh in order to make them grow. Otherwise, they shrink.
Weird.
You can actually see this in the Turbo footage.
Yeah.
But when they are first forming the Turbo Megazord in the Sentai, I can't remember what the Car Ranger name is. Oh, RV Robo. I remember now. You want to know what RV Robo, the RV and RV Robo stands for?
No.
Ranger Vehicle.
It just stands for
Ranger Vehicle.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, they have in Turbo when they're doing this for the first time, they actually have to work at it because it's almost like they're having to connect them all manually.
Yeah.
Whereas like in all the other ones, it's like they hit a button and all the giant robots come together in an automatic fashion. They have to do that because the Car Rangers had to do it manually. And there's a part in there where the Red Ranger is getting chased by Elgar in Turbo, but he's Zelmoda in Car Ranger.
Okay.
And Zelmoda is keeping him from, being able to make the jump so he can, form the head of this Megazord.
Right.
Basically. And the Red Ranger, Red Racer, that's his name in Sentai, Red Racer, is trying to figure out a good way to distract him. So he pulls out the Zord's instructional manual. Now, granted, Tommy did this too.
Okay.
And it's stupid that Tommy did it because Tommy is an experienced veteran ranger. Let TJ do it. He was new. But no, they had Tommy do it. But in Red Racer, it makes sense because this was the first time they'd ever actually formed RV Robo. And Zelmoda is stopping him from it. And so he says, in emergencies, press this button. So he presses this button. The Zord splits to show the head, and the head spooks Elgar or Zelmoda, but the head speaks. It says something to the effect of, do not get distracted while driving. And then that somehow causes Zelmoda to swerve off the mountain or off the cliffside they were racing alongside, which allows, him to actually make the jump into the Robo. It's like, that's both funny and stupid, and I like it.
You know what that reminds?
It's stupid in when Turbo has to use it, because Turbo is trying to be this more serious. It's trying to still be Zeo basically, but with cars.
Yeah.
But Car Ranger starts off. It's like one of the first lines we hear from the Car Ranger group is, "We can't be Car Rangers. We only make $200,000 yen a year." They're worried about being Car Rangers because they don't get paid enough. It's like, same.
Yeah.
I feel you here. I Dapu, their not mentor character, because he's not really. He's just the one who has access to the car magic. Yes, car magic.
Car magic.
Car magic.
It's a thing.
He can't get the Car Rangers to actually fight the villains because they don't want to get involved in any of this. They haven't even morphed yet, basically. And he gets hit by Zalmoda at one point, and then he just starts hamming up the acting like he's gotten hurt. It's like, please. And he starts saying each of their names. He says, "Stop the Bozak." That's the name of the villains. The Bozak for me. And then pretends like he dies. And the Red Racer is narrating at this point, says, "And it was at that moment that we all decided that we were going to be bound and determined to be Car Rangers." And then they do the morphing sequence. And as soon as they're done morphing, you know what happens.
Yeah.
Dapu just picks up and says, "See, if you'd have just done what I told you to the first time, I wouldn't have had to act like that."
Oh my gosh. So
Car Ranger is a trip. And I haven't even gotten to the best character yet.
Okay. So be like when you said had to push a button and somehow like the head separates in his space.
Yeah.
So the scene that brought to mind is when we were on Monster Island Film Bolt reviewing Power Rangers, the movie, where I think it's Aisha, right?
Yeah. It's the Yellow Ranger. I don't remember which of the Yellow Rangers it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it was Aisha. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Does the knee kick of doom
push the button and just wham?
She taking care of business.
Oh my god!
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I will talk more about what I consider now the best character in the show, which is Signal Man. I'll talk about him next week.
Okay.
Because I've already been on this topic a little too long. I need to move on to a different one.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode of season 4 of Grogu and Friends.
The Mandalorian
season 3. I'm sorry. Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
I know a lot of people call it like Mandalorian 2.5. No. It's season 3 of a show that we haven't even officially calling this, because it's all Grogu and Friends. Because I guarantee you when Ahsoka starts up, she's going to be involved with Grogu somehow.
Probably.
And that will be season 7 of Grogu and Friends. Don't get me wrong. I actually loved the first episode of this season of Mando. It's actually a very fun episode. You get a lot of cool stuff. I don't want to tell you too much because I think you are still haven't even watched season 2.
No,
right?
I have seen season 2. Really good season. I have not seen Book of Boba Fett.
Okay. Definitely watch Book of Boba Fett before you watch season 3 of Mando.
That's the plan.
Because that will explain why an event is the way it is.
Yes.
They assume you watch the end of Book of Boba Fett before you watch this. But yeah. I did watch that and I enjoyed it. I also went to go see a movie last night.
Really?
Because we didn't have Bible study because
that is true.
There was a storm coming through. When I looked at the map and thought, I have no idea why we're not meeting. That storm's not going to come through till much later. But whatever. That was the decision. It's fine. I was like, well, I got time to go watch a movie, and there's this movie that I've been thinking of going to see that just came out last week. Not the normal kind of thing I would watch, mind you, because I don't normally like watching religious movies. But this one, when we went to go see that concert back in December, they played the trailer like 3 or 4 times before the concert really started.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it was on my mind. So I saw it come out. So I went and saw Jesus Revolution.
Okay. How was that?
Well, it was interesting.
Okay.
It was actually well made.
Okay.
As a movie, it's actually a well-made movie.
Okay.
You can tell they massage the story though, because you know how sometimes on these that are based on true events, and stuff, it's slightly fictionalized to make it a good story.
Yeah,
there is that element in it, but there's also stuff like, I suspect the person who wrote this is connected to the church this is about. I just have a strong suspicion, because they are really putting this church in a very good light, even though they are showing the bad things that kind of happened along with that. But I actually do suggest watching it because it was a good one. But bear in mind that this is there's a lot I'm not sure about in the movie. Just kind of go into it. It's going to, to some degree, it is trying to sell you something on top of Christianity, because it's really sharing what the whole purpose of how that movement got started.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that wasn't necessary for the hippie movement, and I'm not saying the hippies didn't need Christ, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And there's a lot of things that it implies, because a lot of the stuff that comes out is that's where contemporary Christian music got its start, was in that.
True.
And that's a controversial topic among some churchgoers.
Agreed.
And there's a lot of that stuff. It never says whether it's good or bad. It's just, it pushes it. And the backstory on one of the characters, because he got into the hippie culture pretty bad before he converted.
Yeah,
they do show like far more than you would expect one of these things to kind of show.
Really?
It's not like a sex scene or anything, but they see him go hard into the drugs.
Oh, okay.
Like, drug use is a thing in this.
I got
the kind you would normally see in like rock and roll movies.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because they're trying to show how deep he had fallen.
Yeah.
Before he, got involved with this church.
Gotcha.
But yeah, basically and some of the history, I have looked up some of the history of what actually happened. And yeah, they had massaged the story a lot. But Kelsey Grammer, who plays the main preacher, he actually does a very good job. All the actors actually did a good job, I thought. It's a very well made movie. So yeah,
okay.
I did see Jesus Revolution. I thought it was good.
Good.
And that's about all I've got on my list.
Okay.
So, Jacob, my next question for you is, what do we have in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Neelit. And while we get into the news, so to rewind a little bit, back a couple of years ago during the pandemic, thank you, COVID. So we had a lot of movies get delayed.
Yes.
And some movies sadly got pushed onto streaming platforms when they should have went in the theaters.
Soul, Luca, Panda movie.
Turning Red.
Thank you. I just think Panda movie.
Panda movie.
It's not Kung Fu Panda. It's
No.
Red Panda movie.
I'll talk about that in a second. But I actually had a coworker say something about that. It's like, no, you're wrong. But so
Tanuki movie.
Okay.
Except it wasn't a Tanuki.
No, it's a red panda. Anyways, nuance.
We already did a Tanuki movie.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently in this movie I'm talking about, there is a Tanuki. Suit. Tanuki suit.
A Tanuki suit.
Yes. As I'm talking about the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I see.
So kind of relaying in that same vein of movies being pushed back or pushed forward. So this movie
got pushed forward.
2 days. 2 days from April 7th to April 5th.
This actually makes sense because that's Easter weekend.
Yeah.
And I remember in the before times.
In the before times of COVID.
Before pandemic, it was common,
yes,
for movies that were coming out on a holiday weekend that while they were initially be announced for whatever that holiday weekend was, it always came out like actually 2 days before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is not new. It's just I think the first time we've actually heard about it since Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. True. So yes, the Super Mario Bros. Movie has been pushed forward from April 7th to April 5th.
Making it much easier for us to do a reaction to that film.
Thank you.
We may have to miss Bible study.
Maybe sad days. But it's like we haven't missed a few Bible studies anyway.
Not since COVID.
That's true. Not since
The
COVID.
last one we missed was Weathering with You
That is true. That is
because of a movie we went to watch.
Yes. So this is more of a funny bit because we've been doing this for for about 5 years now. So a coworker who thinks he's right and he's wrong says, be like, oh yeah, they're like the Kung Fu Panda movie 4 is coming out this year. I'm like, no, it's not. And he's like, yeah, it is. It's like, no, this movie isn't coming out until next year because it's in it's in pre-production. And it's like, no, it's coming out this year. It's like, no, it's not. Believe me, I do news for this every sinking week. Believe me, I would know it would be on the calendar. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't come out till March 8, 2024.
Thank you. So I'd be like, just when people like, it's like when like you get into a realm in which I do for, every week for this podcast, and you're trying to build up what the stuff you're trying to sling. It's like, no, you're not going to get past me because I do the news in this podcast and I know what I'm talking about for the most part. So yeah, I thought that was funny, Michael.
Does Michael listen to this podcast?
I don't think so, but it's funny anyway.
As long as you feel better about it.
But yeah, he just kept talking about it. It's like, no, you're wrong. But it's like, you know what? I don't want to fight about this. This is dumb. And plus, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna watch the new Transformers movie, Rise of the Beast. I'm like, maybe. There's a lot more better movies coming out this year than that movie. But either way,
And bear in mind, we will probably go watch that because we like Transformers.
that is true. And plus, it's not a babe movie.
Hey, my only defense.
The first one was good.
Okay, yeah, the first one was good.
Hmm?
Second one was third one was fourth one was fifth one was I don't actually remember how many numbers there are. But the last night is the most fun I've seen Anthony Hopkins have on screen in years. And I will say this, it was a better King Arthur movie than the other King Arthur movie that came out that year.
Oh my gosh.
And the other King Arthur movie was actually set in the right time period.
Oh my gosh. But either or, so that's the news.
And no, it wasn't the Green Knight. It was before all that.
Oh my gosh. I still need to watch that movie.
Anyway.
All right.
Are we ready to talk about X-Men in a particular wedding?
Yes, in a particular way.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically neurotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
I don't say this enough, but Ron Wasserman for the win.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Till death do us part. Season 2, episode 1 of X-Men the Animated Series.
Oh my gosh.
The return of Zombie Morph.
Oh my, yes, Zombie Morph.
I didn't realize it was going to be this fast.
Yes.
I was expecting him to show up like season 3. It's like they didn't know for a whole year that this was going to be a fan favorite character.
That's what I kept thinking.
But no, beginning of season 2, it's like,
oh, it's Morph.
we only had 10 episodes to miss this guy. There was no way you could have known he was a fan favorite character in, what is this, 1992, 93?
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring up when this episode came out.
93.
In the notes. I know year is 93. I'm trying to figure out the actual date. Because we're going to start getting to where it gets, the dates get funky.
October 23rd.
October 23rd. You got that up. Thank you. October 23rd, 1992 is when this episode came out.
Yeah.
Directed by Larry Houston and written by Mark Edward Edens. And the second episode was written by Michael Edens. In this episode, Jean and Scott get married. Newly elected President Kelly has freed Beast, who has been incarcerated since the attack on the government facility at the beginning of season 1, and added him as part of his presidential cabinet. He did?
When?
I didn't see that part. Obviously, I
know he
copied
got
and
a
pasted this
pardon.
somewhere. Yeah, he got pardoned. I saw that part. Another friend who was thought to be dead at the same incident has resurfaced, but this time he's not so friendly. With the president's newly found pro-mutant point of view, the public feels betrayed. The people betrayed are reacting with violence.
Mm-hmm.
Guest cast for this includes Chris Britton as Mr. Sinister, David Hemblin as Magneto,
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Rob Rubin as Morph, for some reason. John Stalker as Graydon Creed. John Blackwood as Hairbag. Dan Hennessy as Ruckus. And Rod Wilson as Gorgeous George. Trivia for this episode.
Gosh.
The mutant mole, whose body is covered with hair and has glasses, but as he stated, has no powers, is seen for the first time in this episode.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that the guys are attacking.
Yeah.
For no good reason.
Yeah.
Morph says, making copies after spying on the X-Men mansion. This is a reference to a character on Saturday Night Live played by Rob Schneider, who said that line or a version of it in an Office skit. This is the return of Morph. He was created as a throwaway character for the show, but due to his unexpected popularity by fans, he was brought back to the series in the second season. This is also the debut of Graydon Creed and the Friends of Humanity.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
If Wolverine had actually attended Cyclops and Jean's wedding, he would have smelled Morph, who was disguised as the minister, and identified him.
Yeah, but he was
been a lot shorter episode if it did.
He was pouting in the danger room, thrashing Cyclops.
Yeah. When President Kelly is in the press conference talking about Beast's pardon, the judge who denies Beast's bail in Enter Magneto is seen standing next to him smiling. Also, the Friends of Humanity mutant causes chaos in the same manner as Sabretooth did in the same episode. This may have been intentional by Creed. The imposter mutant looks similar to Sabretooth, who is the father of Friends of Humanity figurehead Graydon Creed.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the debut of the Nasty Boys, who work for Mr. Sinister. This being Gorgeous George, the boys' field leader, Ruckus, Slab, and of course, Hairbag.
How did you know that was my name?
How did you know my name? Are you making fun of me? Yeah.
We are. Oh my gosh.
Morph, disguised as Magneto, gives Xavier a set of coordinates at which to meet him. The second coordinate is in degrees east, but the first is in degrees southeast. Latitudes, which come first, are only given in degrees north and south. So yeah, that's what I've got for
oh my gosh
notes on this.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
absolutely love these 2 episodes. Like you go from X-Men animated series season 1, where you feel like there's a lot of build for what they're doing.
Yeah.
This one just comes straight out at it.
Season 1 is also very rough in its storytelling.
I agree.
This already is what I remember
Mhm.
of X-Men. I was honestly going through season 1, I was starting to feel like my memories were of the show were clouded with nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because of how just crunchy, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
the
agreed.
storytelling was in
Yeah.
those 10 episodes. There were some good episodes, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, but it just felt like there's a lot of jumping around, not as
Yeah.
bad as No Cow, but there was a lot of jumping around. But this one, it's like, oh, this is a well-written story.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, be like the story starts
Also,
up,
the Cyclops Cyclops Sentinel
yes.
combo was like, that thing looks cool.
Yeah, agreed.
Scary, but cool.
Yes. So be like you're right off the bat, be like you're reintroduced to Morph, you're introduced to Sinister, and be like you get into Jean and Scott's wedding, you get in the conflict where Wolverine is still in love with Jean. And like I remember this, I was like 10, 11 years old when this show came out, because I remember to this day watching this in my parents' living room, watching this episode. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And one scene I was like, what in the world is going on? Because there again, I'm 10, 11, I'm probably 10. I'm like 10 years old this time. I'm like, huh? And now I understand. It's like, what did they just do in this kids show?
Are you going to elucidate?
What?
Are you going to tell us what you're talking about?
Yes. Okay. So be like, you have this amazing story build up where Morph is going. Be like, we don't know exactly what Sinister's doing. We know Morph is out to go to destroy the X-Men, but we learn later that Sinister wants Jean and Scott. Yes. That whole scene.
The creation of Cable.
Yes, the whole creation of Cable. Cable has already been
The
created.
Cables already exists.
It already exists.
Time travel.
Time travel. Timey-wimey, don't you think?
Yeah, wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey. But it was more
people
like
think time is a constant connection of. I'm saying it wrong. Continue.
Yeah.
I'll look the quote up later.
So when I was like 10 years old watching this, I am a little preteen watching this, and this whole scene where Sinister is explaining his grand plan that he's going to be like, these are the perfect genes to create the master race of mutant kind through Jean and Scott, and he pulls out this succubus thing, and it's just like that scene pops up, and I'm a little kid, I'm like, what in the world's going on? And then I know whatever it is.
That's a what do you call those worms? It's a type of worm.
Yeah, a type of worm.
There's an actual type of worm that's got that kind of mouth, and I can't think of what it's
I
called.
just think succubus all the time, but it's not a succubus.
Succubus is a very pretty sexy woman.
Yes, I'm aware.
With
I'm aware.
wings.
Yes, I'm aware. But like as a kid, didn't understand it. As an adult, oh my gosh.
Lamprey.
Huh?
Lamprey is that type of worm.
Lamprey.
And technically,
Okay.
it's not a worm; it's a fish. But whatever.
Okay. Understanding as an adult now, it's like, what the heck are you doing?
Well, they could not show
Oh,
them.
obviously not.
Let's get it on.
Oh. With
So
the-
obviously, so you got to use this giant worm thing.
Yes.
That somehow will take Scott Summers' DNA out, and
Yeah.
then somehow also take the other
stuff,
her DNA out,
Yep.
and somehow
make it into
Make
an
a
orange
baby?
cube, and then you'll turn it into a baby.
What?
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 I know Sinister is the guy about splicing DNA and be like
Right, and I get that. It's
creating
like
the
you
perfect mutant.
You could test tube this, and I could live with it. Also, here's another fun thing. This is the first episode where they really go in on the laser guns.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think they actually. I think they just stayed away from guns. Period.
Yeah.
Throughout most of the first season, or they were
Yeah.
guns, but they shot lasers, even though they looked
Yeah.
like real guns.
Yeah.
This was like nope. These are obvious laser guns. These things look like they could be super soakers.
Oh yeah.
One of them does not even have a barrel. It just has an emitter, little thing sticking out there that I think Gambit at one time is holding, which is also weird. But anyway,
but like this movie show, like these episodes are amazing. You know, like they show this idea of like Worf's conflict of who be like he felt abandoned and he was brought by life with Sinister, and Sinister using for his own deeds. And then you get into the Friends of Humanity group, which then you go into racism and hatred and bigotry and
everything X-Men's about.
Everything X-Men's about. And it's just like you find that like be like yes, humanity is wicked and cruel. That's what the Bible teaches.
Yeah.
That man is wicked and desires nothing but its own, wicked desires, and the lust after someone else's property, or the sheer hatred of somebody.
Just hating because they're different.
Yeah, exactly. And be like in this, I'll be like, if you want this, like our world is so messed up right now, it's not even funny. And I'm not I'm not gonna get into like,
really?
No,
I never would have guessed.
No, but this notion of you be like, if you want a good example of pure hatred and bigotry, this is it. People who hate people, and to quote Creed, because you were born.
Yeah.
The simple fact that like you were born, that means for people like that, if we're talking Ku Klux Klan or whatever, it's simply a stupid, idiotic hatred of somebody for no reason except you hate them.
That's the weird thing, is that this season, the first season, they talked about how the humans hate mutants and that there's this issue.
Yeah, they never bring it up.
They never really go into the why. It's just like, oh yeah, we hate you because you're mutants.
Yeah.
It's like, this was like, okay, we're ripping the Band-Aid off by saying,
yeah,
what did I do? You were born.
Simply.
You are evil.
Yeah, very evil.
And now that I understand that this character is actually Sabretooth's father.
Sabretooth's father.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
I watched this episode. I was thinking, boy, this guy's a jerk. I hope I don't need to know. I wonder if he's going to show back up again. He's going to have to.
He does. I remember. So I mean, like this is a prime example of where the world, our modern world, says if you don't fully accept me, you hate me and that kind of stuff. There again, be like, if you're talking from a Christian standpoint, like Christ does not call us to hate anybody. We're supposed to love our neighbors.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah, it's not be like, because I disagree with you. No. Be like, I can disagree with everybody every day, but I'm told to love others, not simply be like, oh, because I'm going to appease something about you that make you feel better or something like that. That's not what I'm supposed to do, because Christ died for our sins,
right? And
to bring us into a relationship with God, not to simply just let us run wild with our sin. So. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because that's a big topic.
This is the first time they've really honed in on why the hatred is there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's
the comics, they had that going like from issue 1.
Yeah,
but this is the first time the show has actually looked at it, and I wonder if it's because Fox Kids back in the day was a little hesitant if the show would even be successful.
Of course.
And you had to show at least the hatred between humanity and the mutants, but it's like actually getting into why these humans hate it. I wonder if they were just kind of, let's hold back. Well, if we don't want to go there yet, and then finally it's like, okay, the show's good, it's going to survive. Sure, have that scene.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the only time.
Yeah,
it gets that harsh, because this was something made for kids that had to be broadcast in all 50 states.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, we get one. And if that's all we get, that's fine, because that's part of the story.
Yeah.
But
it's so well done.
It's so well done. And
so well done. And there's a scene where
also I noted the animation on this episode went up. Season 1 had good animation, but you could tell it was being like made cheap. And this is still being made cheap because this is not the cheapest it will look. We know this.
Mhm.
We know about
Yeah,
season 5.
5. Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to season 5.
No.
But
No.
the animation on this is up. We're not at a point now where I'm afraid that we're gonna go to a scene and the registration of the colors is going to be off, like
Right.
that one shot of the Xavier Mansion in season 1.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But I mean, a lot of shots from, okay, with the exception of the future shots from Days of Future Past,
Yeah.
of the future cityscape of New York,
Yeah.
season 1 kind of looked like a flat cartoon, for lack of a better term. I don't mean that in a bad way. It just did not look like my memories of the show.
Right.
It looked like literally we took the 1960s comics and animated that.
Fair.
This, while it's just a little bit of upgrade in the art,
Mhm.
makes me think we are animating the 1980s comics, because this is holding that Jim Lee style a lot better
Yeah. 90s
than
stuff.
season 1 did.
Yeah. I agree.
80s, 90s, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully we're not getting Rob Liefeld nonsense, but
Oh gosh.
hope we never get Rob
Some-
Liefeld nonsense in this
some-
show.
Some people would have left feet and you would see hands.
Never forget
Sorry, Rob.
Never forget that shot he did of Captain America, where his entire chest goes out to here with a little bitty waist.
Oh
Nope, he was not. This was not a female Captain America. He didn't have those. It's just he had a huge chest and back, and
the size of Brooklyn. But either
for
way,
no apparent reason. It's just Rob Liefeld couldn't draw the same image twice.
Yeah, it is what it is. Rob Liefeld's gotten better as an artist. I know that. But
I would hope
we're-
so with all
yeah,
the practice.
Yes, but we're not here to talk about
Over
Rob
ti-
Liefeld.
Well, over time, it's like I have opinions about Rob. I will be forever thankful that Rob Liefeld created Deadpool, because Deadpool Volume 3 is like my favorite comic book series ever.
Oh, okay.
Specifically Volume 3.
Because
that's when he's doing the whole talking to himself with the 2-word balloons
Mhm.
of his thoughts. And yeah, he still gets a little dark and nasty at times, but it's not as bad as, the movies.
Yeah.
He still still has to live within the Marvel universe and is
Right.
not just doing his own thing.
Right.
But
like, yeah, this episode, these episodes are so well done. You have very good storytelling, and it's telling a really good message about hatred, about hating others that are not like you or something like that. And it's something that our modern world definitely needs to get clued in on. No. Like, oh, because I don't share your opinion, you hate me. It's
cancel
like, no.
culture is a thing.
Yeah, cancel culture is a thing. So yeah, there again, be like, it's not hate. Be like, there's this idea of, like, if you disagree with me or you don't what's the word I'm looking for? Accept.
You do not accept my truth.
Yeah, if you don't accept my truth, you're full of hate, which is completely beyond truth. So yeah, I thought it was a really good and very timely story that needs to be told. I slightly disagree with what Storm says to Jubilee.
Storm is always being preachy about something.
Yeah, she's always been very preachy, but it was more along the lines of, be like, there are always going to be people who fear and hate what they don't understand, which is true. But then there's parts of humanity who's accepting of everything. It's like, no, be like, there's a middle. There's a middle where
the middle is more likely.
The middle is more likely than anything. It's not everybody's going to accept you, because there again, we can't accept each other because we're not all copycats of each other. But either or, I'm getting off my soapbox with this one. So overall, I enjoyed the mess out of these 2 episodes. Definitely when Cyclops gets his, finally gets, gets his visor on.
Yeah.
And it's like they have been stranded on this island. They have been experimented on. And it's like Cyclops is like, okay, I'm done. Be like, I'm going to fry you, Sinister, to a crisp. And it's just like, oh, we gotta run. It's like
run, Hairbag, run. I'm sorry. I need to talk about Hairbag for a second.
Talk about Hairbag.
Who names their character Hairbag?
Was this character originally from this episode, or was he? He's probably an actual comic book character.
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere. Like probably some of our fans will be like, he's from this episode and this and this and this comic.
I'm about to tell you. Here, he is an Earth 616. His real name is Michael Suggs.
Michael Suggs.
He was recruited by Mr. Sinister to be a member of the Nasty Boys, whose sole purpose was to harass the government-sponsored team X Factor. During those altercations, Hairbag often fought against Wolfsbane, his opposite number. In the Nasty Boys' final fight, Hairbag was captured along with teammate Slab and taken to a holding cell by X Factor, while he waited for his lawyer to negotiate bail. Hairbag and Slab were broken out of prison by the Mutant Liberation Front and returned to the Nasty Boys shortly thereafter.
You know who probably was drawing Hairbag at that time?
Creators were Peter David and Larry Stroman. Why, Peter and Larry, did you name the character Hairbag? I mean, granted, I'm sitting there watching this episode, and Wolverine, I think?
Yes,
it's Wolverine. Says, "You're going to pay for this, Hairbag." I'm thinking, I want that to be his name. 2 seconds later, how did you know my name? Are you making fun of me? It's like,
yes.
I don't remember. That's Michael Edens that would have wrote that line, and I think he's become my favorite writer because I think I have to go back and look, but this might be the same guy who wrote "I'm Still Plugged In." It's like, you know what? You write a good story, but you do really good one-liners that just stay with you for quite a while.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
How did you know my name?
Oh my gosh, we're having too much fun this episode.
Yes, we are.
But yes, X-Men, what was it? Death Do Us Part 1 and 2.
Which implies that this was all going to be about the wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding's in the beginning of it. Most of this time, Cyclops and Jean Grey are on their honeymoon, and they're barely even in the first half.
Yeah.
Just long enough to get married. The rest of the time, we're looking at Morph, half the time with the evil eyeshadow. Like he's been hanging around the Super Sentai Power Rangers universe. And it's the same thing they do when they show a character turn evil. They get evil eyeshadow. And they do that here. I wasn't expecting evil eyeshadow here. Because the first time he shows up, I was like, oh, Morph came back. And he looks like a zombie.
He does.
He's Zombie Morph. I would love the idea of Zombie Morph. I assume zombies exist in the Marvel Universe.
Yes, they do.
Outside of Marvel Zombies, the side universe, but in the regular 616 universe, I assume there are zombies.
Right.
And I was thinking, oh, that's how they're going to bring him back in. He's going to be a zombie that's going to attack everybody. No, he just has evil eyeshadow. Am I watching Kamen Rider again?
Oh my gosh, my abs hurt.
Evil eyeshadow.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing is, that's exactly what it is, because when he comes back to his normal self, he loses the evil eyeshadow. Because it happens throughout the whole thing. And I can partially think is, well, maybe the only way this makes sense.
Right.
The only way is because somehow the weird little alien bug thing that Mr. Sinister put in him is affecting his morphing look in when it's taking control. That's why he gets that evil eyeshadow, and when he comes back, when regular Morph takes control, he just takes back his default form, which is himself without the gaunt face. That's the only way I can make that work, because it can't. If that will only stay true if Mr. Sinister ever puts one of those bug things in anyone else to take control of their mind, unless it gives them evil eyeshadow, then this is just how Morph's ability accepted it. And the real question is, why did nobody question the fact that he looked like a zombie?
Oh, I'm going to make really bad jokes and eat your brain. Oh my God.
Also, I don't know what the difference is, but Morph's voice actor is better in this than he was in those first 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I think he was doing a much better job as a actor in this, because you could almost tell in those first 2 episodes he knows he's gonna die. He doesn't have to worry about establishing a character. He's never gonna be back.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh, I actually have to figure out what I was doing in the other one and then do it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's actually does much better acting in this, I think, than he did in the first one.
I agree.
I still love Wolverine's line, I've got to help him. He's the only one that ever made me laugh.
I was like, what? And they play this over and over and over again in this season. I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be fun. And the thing,
Morph is a stupid name for an X-Man. I'm just saying.
because like there again, my first introduction to Morph was actually the comics when he appeared in Astonishing X-Men: Age of Apocalypse, where he's like, all he is like, he's this like no featured white character, not like skin tone white, but white character. And like he's just cracking jokes and he morphs into different things. That's who I think Morph. And then I see this and it's like, that's Morph.
This is the original Morph.
This is the original Morph. Where they got that from?
Also, kudos when they show the scenes from Jean Grey and Scott's past, and they show that one shot of Scott from like what would have been his first year, and he's actually wearing the 1960s suit.
Yeah, that was good.
Granted, I strongly suspect, and I would need to actually go back and look, I strongly suspect that might be the one shot from Pride of the X-Men that got on television.
Those the suit that
I don't think that was original animation for this.
I think it was. I could be wrong. But there's never a scene like that in the entire pilot, because I've seen the pilot like twice.
Okay, well, that was the only thing they ever made.
No,
so, for Pride.
Yeah, because that suit looks more. It was very much the 80s version of him.
Right. Okay.
But yeah,
it just looked like that had to have been like stock footage from somewhere, because the shot of Jean was stock footage from season 1.
Yeah.
But
it was good. They did
kudos for actually showing his older suit from when he would have been the team leader of Team 1, even though you have no idea if Team 1 actually worked and existed in this. Is Archangel didn't know any of the X-Men, and he was on that first team.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
Yeah.
You have anything else to add before we finish this thing?
This was a great episode. There again, if you have not watched X-Men the Animated Series in a long time, like I haven't, well, I can't say that because I started watching it.
We both started watching it after they announced X-Men 97.
Yeah.
And I think we both fell off of it before we finished season 1.
Exactly. But
because season 1 is a trip.
It is a trip.
It's a good trip.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is not exactly what I remember.
Yeah, and Beast gets a lot of reading in. A lot of reading.
Yeah, because
Beast
doesn't do anything in season 1.
Except quote Shakespeare and different writers.
He does some cool things in the first episode, first 2 episodes, and then he's in jail the rest of the season. It's like, you're in the opening. You have the whole title. Why are you in a jail all season? Now he's not, and it's actually doing cool stuff. But
so here's
Beast was one of my other favorites from back in the day.
So here's another one.
Watching the show.
So watching the scene where Morph is killed, he gets blasted by 2 Sentinels. Then you get Beast, who's blasted by 2 Sentinels, and then hurled into an electrical fence, electrified, and somehow he survives. I guess Morph's is a weak character, I guess.
Well, okay, this is a theory. Take that for what it's worth.
Theory,
maybe. A Beast's ability, since it, 2 things. While they'll never go into this on the show, Beast is one of the few mutates where he has both a mutant ability from the X gene, but he's also got other alterations to his body from that, like Spider-Man or something like that.
Okay.
There's stuff that's happened to make him even worse, because his regular mutant ability just gave him like the
big hands.
Well, it made him a strong kind of a character.
Yeah.
Or I think he even turned him. He was blue and furry even in that version.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, that's right. Because he was just he was essentially a strong man.
He was a strong man with big hands and
big hands and big hands.
Right.
And then when he got, I don't remember what, it was a lab experiment of some kind.
Yeah,
it blew up on him.
It was Beast trying to cure himself, and he wanted to turn himself blue.
Yeah, and turn himself into a big blue hairy guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, he's technically, because for those who don't know about how the classification of beings in the Marvel universe works, there's 5: aliens, which is just anyone not from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Humans, normal human beings, mutants, people who gain their powers from the X gene, mutates, people who would normally, if the mutant thing did not exist, would be called mutants because they have their abilities, their human body has been mutated, but it's not because of that one gene.
Yeah.
And then mutant mutates, which are both mutants and mutates at the same time.
You're forgetting one.
I said aliens.
Wizards.
That's magic. They're technically humans.
I know.
Because the mutate thing has to be like something affected them that turned them.
Yes, I'm aware.
Thing. By all technical accounts, Doctor Strange and Iron Man are humans.
Yes.
Not mutant or mutates.
Yeah. They're just enhanced
aliens.
Yes.
Steve Rogers is just an enhanced human. So he's essentially human. But he could also be considered a mutate because his is a result of a science experiment.
Yeah.
And he cannot take it away by leaving it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But Beast is one of those rare exceptions where it's actually both at one time, both mutant and mutate. So I'm guessing that his between his mutant and mutate abilities, he has more stamina,
I guess,
than Morph would have, because Morph is really more of a stealth character than an actual fighter, at least from what it looks like.
Yeah.
And you can really see that in this episode with how he tricks all the X-Men to go off in different directions. And so you can see that's where his strength really lies as a operative, for lack of a better term. But Beast, he's the strong man. He should be able to go toe to toe with the Hulk and do pretty decent.
Yeah.
Morph wouldn't last 5 seconds against the Hulk or the Thing.
Agreed.
Beast should be able to. So yeah, he would survive 2 blasts from a Sentinel and get electrocuted and just be stunned enough that the police can carry him away.
I agree. I agree with that.
Obviously, Mr. Sinister was more worried about Morph than what happened to Beast.
Yeah. I like how they inserted him. They inserted him into the story. I enjoyed that.
Makes me wonder about Mr. Sinister's plans, because what would he do? Why would you not want the big, strong mutant as part of your big DNA experiment? I mean, you got the energy blast from Scott, and you got the super strong, the absurdly strong telekinetic abilities of Jean Grey, which has not been shown on this yet, but I can imagine Mr. Sinister knows about him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that, but it's like, if you're making the perfect mutant, the superior mutant, as he puts it, shouldn't you be like putting all the strengths together? Granted, you don't want him, you may not want him blue and hairy, but you should still want some strong man. Oh, and by the way, there's another mutant that Mr. Sinister really should have gotten a hold of. Got a really important ability. His name is Wolverine, and he's got super hailing.
Just don't pull a X-Men Origins Wolverine and a Deadpool character.
I don't know why, but I was thinking you were going to say something about the Bone Claws.
Oh, no.
And then my mind went to Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. And I thought, Bone Claw is ready.
Bone Saw.
Yes, Bone Saw. But I'm thinking Bone Claw is ready. On that note,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Our next episode for the X-Men, we will be reviewing the episodes Whatever It Takes and Red Dawn.
Movie from the 80s?
Well, Wolverines! This has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at G George 759. his Twitter at ggeorge759, and Instagram at drewdodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Go ahead and clean yourself up. Use as many as you want. It's the foreplay. It's the good stuff.
All I want is some leche. That's all I want is some leche.
Where is his udder?
Oh, brother, not again!